SDPN, the Steve Dangle Podcast, with your hosts, Steve Dangle, Adam Wilde, and Jesse Blake.
Let's go!
And somewhere at this moment, probably still partying at the Elbow Room, because there were videos of them this morning, the Florida Panthers, Stanley Cup champions. Second year in a row, third year in the finals. 4 goals from Sam Reinhart. Unbelievable. And Leaf fans, I just want to get something off the table.
Oh my gosh.
I got to get it off the table. Enough. Just because the Panthers took the Leafs to 7, or the Leafs took the Panthers to 7 games. I said that the wrong way.
Yep. It
does not mean they were the second best team in the playoffs. It does not mean they should run it back. Paul Bissonnette is trolling you. This is, please do not forget, games 5 and 7. The Panthers are the best team in the league by a wide margin. And that's just the end of it. But it doesn't mean that the second round Leafs are the second best team in the playoffs.
Yes, it does.
How many times are we going to do that?
It means that there was...
That's how sports works.
Had they won game 3 or game 5 or game 7, there was a path to the final. That's all it means.
No, they won.
That's all it means.
Won the Stanley Cup last night.
They did.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Can we stop being a meme? We need to stop being a meme. I'm sick. I'm twisted. I'm broken. You can't fix it.
Yep. Now,
Billy Talent. Listen. It's a good song. Good album.
it is.
It's a very good album. Ben Kowalowitz follows
Steve,
me on
what's
Twitter.
your message to Leafs fans who are coping very hard?
Stop it.
Just accept that it wasn't good enough.
I refuse to say we're better than this. We're not.
Yeah, what?
Let's admit it. We're pawn scum.
Did you just get here?
We're awful.
We're obviously not better than
We're sick and wrong in the brain. But
No,
listen.
we're better than the Oilers.
Oh yeah. You know, here, let me tell you. This is let me tell you how not close the Leafs were, actually.
Give it to us.
How not close anyone was. So it's what was good about the Leafs took them to 7 discourse. What was good about that is it caused me to take a deeper look at the Panthers' run.
Yep.
No disrespect to the Lightning, the Leafs, the Hurricanes, or the Oilers. No one was close. No one was even sort of close.
Right.
Panthers scored 94 goals in these playoffs.
Yep.
That is the most since what year? Go ahead and guess.
It's the most ever, isn't it?
No.
No, 94 or I forgot.
93.
The 90-91 Mario Lemieux, Jaromir Jagr, Ron Francis Penguins.
Is that good?
It's a little bit good.
At a most, you're thinking about road goals.
Oh, is it road goals? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That would make sense.
Yeah.
That would make sense. So that I haven't checked. What I was trying to check was goal differential. So NHL.com doesn't actually show you goal differential. So like for the playoffs. So you have to go through manually. I was looking it up on the train. I got back to 95, 96 and the Panthers were still first. I don't, maybe it's the record. I don't know. I would have to go back further, but they were a plus 38. They murdered the Lightning, murdered dead, national television, no arrests. The Leafs, they pounded 3 times in that series, pounded them. And the most important, it made Adam react like that. Murdered the Hurricanes, nearly swept them. And after 4 games against the Oilers, it was tied, but it was 2 Oilers overtime wins and highly unlikely overtime wins. And I'm left with, after 4 games, okay, it's a tied series. The Panthers are the better team. Game 5, they went, you're right, Steven. Game 6, they just toyed with their food in an elimination game. It was sick and deplorable and sadistic, and no one was close. We have to stop.
Yes.
No one can hang their hat on their series with the Panthers. Not one of the team. They didn't have home ice advantage in any series. They played like garbage heading into the playoffs. None of it mattered. Absolutely none of it mattered. They ripped each opponent limb from limb, and like the boa constrictor I always say that they got stronger as time went on. The more you tried to breathe in and out, the harder they squeezed.
They only lost back-to-back games once during the entire playoff.
And that was against the Leafs.
Games 1 and 2 against
1 and 2 against
the
Toronto Maple Leafs.
godforsaken.
Other than that,
What did we do to deserve them?
Other than that, every time they lost, they bounced back with a victory.
I also want to say that being second place isn't the goal. So everybody that's like, run it back, I'm like, hey, that would still mean them they would lose in the first or second round again.
Go ask Oilers
To the
fans this
Panthers.
morning how much
No.
second place matters.
No, Adam. If you run it back, that means maybe a bounce goes your way.
Oh, that's
and
how
you're
the Panthers
Stanley
won.
Cup final.
You know what? The Panthers just had four rounds, and entire seasons of things just happening
Yeah.
to go their way. No,
No.
you win because
What
you're
you
the
do-
best. You
what
don't
you
win.
do-
They were so far and away the best.
Evidence. You ignore the evidence. You flush it. You block out the noise.
I'm going
flushed that
to
game.
punch you
You learn
in your
lessons.
huge
You
Adam's
learn
apple.
lessons.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Come back the next season and you just play your game again, which you played well. It's just the bounces didn't go your way.
Oh,
You're
for
going to
God's
flush
sake.
those bounces.
And yeah, and Paul Maurice was right. They were really close in games 5 and 7.
Also, it's the fans' fault.
Here's what I want to do.
What if we're all dead and this is purgatory?
It's Steve's fault. Steve got Brendan
What if
Shanahan
we
fired.
all died? What if I died 37
It's-
years ago and was born to live this life?
People don't, I don't think, quite get it. Being a Leafs fan is like Sisyphus pushing that boulder up the.
Sisyphus and Tantalus.
Yeah. Now I want to throw this at you. Oh yeah, Tantalus, I guess, is the one that pushes it up, isn't it?
No, Sisyphus is the push.
The
Tantalus is the
water.
food.
Or was the food,
Food
the
and
water?
water.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Now, I want to bring you back to April 11th, 2023. The most consequential hockey game of the last 5 years in the NHL.
At minimum.
It
At
is a
minimum.
game between the Pittsburgh Penguins and the Chicago Blackhawks.
I watched
And
the highlights last night.
And the AP, let me just get to the headline before you tell anything.
Okay, go.
The headline says, Pens playoff streak in jeopardy after 5-2 loss to Chicago. Here's what happened on the game. Scoreless first. Connor Murphy scored for the Blackhawks in the second. Malkin with a power play goal, his 27th of the year, to start the third off. And then Buddy Robinson,
Buddy Robinson.
Andreas Athanasiou, and Tyler Johnson.
Andreas Athanasiou off a goal that should have Tristan Jarry in jail.
Buddy Robinson, by the way, got an assist on that Athanasiou goal.
He had a multi-point game.
Tyler Johnson on an empty net, but then Danton Heinen scored, and then Mackenzie Entwistle got an empty netter from Zaitsev and Andreas Engeland.
Prison.
So
The Penguins should. You know what? You have to trade Crosby now. You have to. No, you're not allowed. You're not allowed. You're not allowed. You put the league through the Florida Panthers. You're not allowed. He should retire it. No, he shouldn't.
Now,
Sit in it.
Steve,
You deserve this.
Steve, I don't think people understand what the consequences of this are
Okay,
yet.
sorry.
So let
Go
me
ahead.
get to that
Go ahead.
part.
Go ahead.
This is why I need to tell the story. The story is, if the Penguins win, they're going to the playoffs. If they don't, the already called soft on Toronto radio Florida Panthers by Keith Tkachuk, they would not be going. They would not be going to the playoffs. They would not be going to play Boston. It would have been Pittsburgh-Boston. But Pittsburgh loses a can't-lose game against the Blackhawks. And by the way, their only other meeting that season happened in October where the Penguins beat the Blackhawks 5-3. And so what we have here is the one game that arguably gave rise to what is now close to, but not quite, a Panthers dynasty.
The Panthers don't have that 2023 Stanley Cup final run. They probably don't have the experience to get it done in 2024, and they probably don't have the experience to get it done in 2025. The Penguins and Blackhawks, completely unbeknownst to either of them, created the closest thing we have to a dynasty right now.
And it's important to remember how bad Bobrovsky was going into that run. He was not the starter in game 1 against Boston.
Who? Oh, man.
I think it was Alex Lyon.
Oh, my God, you're right.
Yeah. And he started the first 2 or 3 games.
Oh, my God.
And
dude.
so, like, this is what is so crazy about that game. April 11th, 2023. Dubas wasn't even the GM yet.
No, he hadn't been fired yet.
That game set up the next 3 years of playoffs. The entire, that inconsequential somewhat game for Penguins just need to get one win and they're in the wild card. That game set up 3 straight Stanley Cup finals.
It had unprecedented consequences for the Eastern Conference.
It's crazy.
For 3 years, and who knows what happens next year.
Mm-hmm.
I really don't
Potentially
know.
4.
Potentially 4. But like when do they lose?
The Panthers?
Yeah, like when's everyone like, oh yeah, the window's closed?
I think when you start to, and this is where the Panthers will need to be careful this summer.
Stop.
You have to put your money to the right guys and hope that they hold up.
I think they will.
Yeah?
You know what? I think the Florida Panthers might actually spend their money right.
Now let me bring your attention back to May 2019. This is from The Athletic. On Monday night, the Columbus Blue Jackets were eliminated from the playoffs, and with it comes the opportunity for the Seattle Kraken, who did not quite exist yet, to take a hard look at Columbus assistant general manager Bill Zito. It wouldn't be surprising at all if he has moved up Seattle's list, and for good reason. He's been knocking on the door of a GM job for the last couple of years, including a lengthy interview with Bob Nicholson for the Oilers position that ultimately went to Ken Holland.
Oh my holy God.
So Zito could have been GM of the
Oilers
or the Oilers?
Yeah.
Wow.
Now,
that's evil.
Last night,
evil.
He said he wants to bring all Bennett, Ekblad, and Marchand back. We're not sure if he's going to be able to do that, but I don't blame him for saying it.
I think he can do too.
He did say he bought a Dairy Queen to keep Marchand in town, which I thought was hilarious.
Dude, these guys are just like working on material. Like
they are
throughout the playoffs. It's crazy.
But
they didn't. They were never worried.
No,
they never needed to be.
No.
This is as dominant a team we've seen.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of a more dominant cup run in recent memory.
The 2012 Kings.
2012 Kings is probably it.
Yeah. It's probably the 22 Avalanche, who were first in the West, won the division, and had a really good playoffs. And like they got up against Tampa and like they weren't looking back in that game 6. And then you probably have like the Kings in there. And I don't know how far you want to go back. But I'd throw in the 13, the lockout shortened season Blackhawks.
Oh my God, they were stupid.
They never lost.
No.
They were good from day one of when they dropped the puck to when they lifted the Stanley Cup.
What was it, like 23 straight wins?
That's the most dominant run I've seen from regular season through to playoffs. And I think the most dominant playoff run is the Kings one.
I shouldn't have taken a drink at that time. Yes,
team,
I think very valid.
And then this team, I think, probably comes in third behind those two teams. But then if you want to go further back, like the 08 Red Wings are just like, there's so many Hall of Famers on there. I don't think anybody's beating any like prime against prime. I don't know if anybody's beating the 08 Red Wings.
I would say between Marchand Cups, the Panthers are third at worst.
Are they? I think
they might be second.
They might. I have to be honest with you guys. I wonder, and this is like a question that you can't really quantify, but I think these Panthers would beat any team that's won the cup in the Cap era.
Like in a series,
yes.
if
they were
time travel,
I'm taking the 08 Red Wings over them.
You're taking the 08 Red Wings over the.
Yeah.
Which rule book are we using?
That's a good point.
Well, we'll use the current one.
I think the Red Wings look pretty good through the first 3 or 4 games,
and then
the Panthers just beat them to death. Beat them to death. Like I started talking about this in the Cup Check video yesterday, and I'm not whining and saying this is why the Panthers won. The Panthers special teams were exceptional, right? Like they got it done on the power play. They had a really good penalty kill and frustrated the Oilers. If there were more calls, they might have won by more.
Mm-hmm.
But there were 33 power plays through the first 3 games of the series, which is 11 per game for those of you playing the home game. There were none last night. That's
and there were very clearly some penalties that could have been called.
Pure fiction. There were 0. Wrong. Try again. Actually, like if this was Groundhog Day, if this was like one of those weird movies where you had to keep living the day over and over,
you got to call one each side at least.
Your standard was 11. They changed the rule book month to month in the regular season.
Yeah.
And game to game in the playoffs. People are like, oh, round 1, round 2, round 3. It is game to game. And what's great is it's not. The deeper you get into a series, the Panthers aren't dirty. No, they get all that out of the way at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
They get all that out of the way at the beginning to soften you up. But remember we had Frank Corrado on, and he was talking about the overtime series-winning goal Pastrnak scored on the Leafs last year. And he was talking about how when Mike Babcock was his coach in Toronto, he said to get a little skin on him. Get a little skin on your opponent. What that means is interfere with them, but not enough to get called. Like, don't set a pick, don't knock him down, just get a little bit of skin on him. They skinned Connor McDavid raw all night.
So
there wasn't an inch to breathe.
I'm glad that you bring that up because I want to talk about that.
Okay.
Matthew Tkachuk said about the win, heart meets talent. Our team was a team. When things were getting hard for them, they looked to one guy. But for our team, we do it collectively. And that's why we're lifting the Stanley Cup right now, because we're a team, not a bunch of individuals.
I mean, one day if he wanted to, he'll be a fantastic analyst.
Absolutely.
Like, he has no filter.
Now, people are dunking on Connor McDavid this morning specifically. In 3 do-or-die Stanley Cup scenarios that he's been in his career, 0 goals, 0 assists, 0 points, 4 shots, 10 for 31 on faceoffs, and a -3.
10 for 31.
What are the scenarios people are using? Because last year they had 4 straight games where they could have been eliminated.
No, I think it's like games where they. Oh, I guess, yeah.
Right? Because so that doesn't make sense. Like, it's because
also like completely cherry picked,
right? Because
this is my point.
On a guy who had 33
cherry
points
pick for a second because I want to push back on.
Yeah,
it. Go ahead, Jesse.
So this year they had 1 game where they could be eliminated,
and last year there
was 4.
Yeah,
so we're talking 5 game sample size, and those numbers aren't from all 5 games.
I don't think he had any points in 6 or 7 last year.
How about this one?
Okay,
Josh Yohe, Athletic, Pittsburgh.
This is so ridiculous, and Josh, if you hear this, don't take it personally. Go ahead.
Josh, I think, took a samurai sword and tried to slice off McDavid's head with this tweet. It's crazy. He said, I feel for McDavid, remarkable player, but he's never won anything other than 4 nations. Lemieux and Gretzky never were silenced with the cup on the line. It will live with him until he finally wins it. He's not Mario or Gretzky. Might want to pipe down comparisons until he wins it all.
Oh my gosh.
How betrayed do you think some Pittsburgh writers felt in 2016 and 2017 when they too didn't get a ring?
Yeah, this is just a Pittsburgh person defending Sidney Crosby.
Well, he doesn't mention Sidney Crosby.
But that's
no. He even says it in the reply. Look at the first reply.
He doesn't mention Sidney Crosby on purpose because he's blatantly just defending Sidney Crosby.
Might I mention
against Connor McDavid?
Might I mention too that Sidney Crosby did not score in games 6 or 7 of the Penguins' first cup.
Adam.
And you know who he had scoring for him? Other people.
Max Talbot.
Jordan Stahl. Tyler Kennedy. Max Talbot. And Max Talbot.
Hey, Adam, great point, but how about you pipe down?
I think that was me. I brought that up. I was the one that said that at the beginning of the finals. That might be a direct shot at me.
I'm not
fair. I'm fine.
Yeah, you went a little early with the McDavid.
I still think we need to have that conversation.
McDavid is better than Gretzky.
I think he's already better than Lemieux.
I'm not out here trying to make enemies. I don't want to make an enemy out of Josh Yohe. That tweet is humiliating.
Yeah,
that's humiliating.
Crazy.
That's it. Genuinely embarrassing.
Read it one more time.
Okay, the tweet's crazy. He said, I feel bad for McDavid. Remarkable player.
Sounds like it.
I would love to have Josh on to debate this, but he's never won anything other than 4 nations. Lemieux and Gretzky were never silenced with the cup on the line. It will live with him until he finally wins it. He's not Mario or Gretzky. Might want to pipe down comparisons until he wins it all.
That's just crazy.
And by the way, somebody said he's not better than 99 or 66, but both of those guys had Hall of Fame goalies. And Josh responded, Hall of Fame goalies because they played with 66 and 99.
Damn. That's crazy.
Now, Grant Fuhr, if you look at Grant Fuhr's save percentage, it's like bad, but it was the 80s.
Connor McDavid.
Same with Barrasso.
Yeah.
We got to all accept that Connor McDavid's the best human to ever play the sport of hockey.
I agree with that.
As time goes on, people get better at things, and right now he is the best player at hockey, which means he's the best player to ever play hockey. Does that mean his NHL career is better than Gretzky's career? No, but he's the most skilled player to ever play this sport, and that deserves a lot of respect. He's also won a lot.
Hey.
He has a whole bunch of individual trophies.
He hasn't won shit, Gretzky.
And the thing
Jesse.
Josh Yohe's talking about here is team trophies.
Yeah.
And that depends on the team around you. As Matthew Tkachuk rightly pointed out, hockey is such a team sport, which means that Steve's taking away my mic because I think I'm making...
Because you need to pipe down.
This probably doesn't deserve any attention.
It deserves
I'm probably wasting too much air on this.
This deserves a ton of attention. Listen, if you're going to tweet that, you got to expect people to react to that. I think that Josh knew that.
If an NHL player
for the reaction.
If an NHL player invited me to their cottage, fed me drinks all night, and gave me $1 million, I wouldn't defend them this way. That's just embarrassing.
So, I mean, listen, McDavid's already better than Lemieux. We know that. He's better than Crosby.
Whoa.
I mean, we've got... No, I'm kidding. I'm totally joking. I don't want all of Pittsburgh to come for me. But when Crosby gets traded, it's going to be really, really interesting to see the reaction from Pittsburgh.
No, Adam, he might stick around for like a bunch of 22nd place appearances.
It's 32 thoughts this week. Both times, Elliot Friedman has said the only team that is not trying to get better are the Pittsburgh Penguins. For sure. Keep them. Be loyal. That's great.
What do you got next?
What a shame. What a shame.
Yeah, this doesn't deserve it.
I want to actually, I sent you a text. I just want to say something funny that
go for it.
The Stanley Cup didn't even leave the ice before it was broken by the Florida Panthers last night.
Oh, what happened?
I think they dropped it. I don't know what happened.
There was a bend at the bottom of it, and there was a tear, which I've never seen, in the actual cup part.
You must have dropped it.
But I actually spoke to some people who were there last night, and they confirmed it's all an accident. They didn't mean for it to happen, and they actually played with the Stanley Cup last year, so they're friends.
Right.
When the cup was on its way to the hospital, throwing up because of head trauma, they actually texted them how sorry they felt.
There you go.
Yes.
They ripped
the Florida Panthers are so on brand, and they're the champs.
Cup at Montreal, 1993. I think that's
no,
that's not 93, man.
That's like 33, probably.
No, it looks like 93 because Montreal won.
Yeah, it does now,
right?
I've seen the cup get dented. You should go back and look at pictures of Michael Ryder. I want to say it was the 2011 Cup. He fucked it up.
Yeah.
He just battered the thing. I've never seen it with a tear. How do you even fix that?
Yeah,
you got to weld it?
I don't know how that happened.
You just weld that.
But they break this cup all the time.
Yeah.
I know. I mean, it is kind of old.
Yeah.
Well, and it's also, but they also have silversmiths who can fix it.
They also have two of them.
Yes.
Yes, which is a secret the Hall of Fame doesn't like talking about.
Can I tell you, like, one of the most frustrating conversations I've ever had in my entire life?
Okay.
Phil Pritchard, who is so you know how there's two guys who wear fancy Super Mario gloves and carry the cup? Mm-hmm. He's the blonde one. Mm-hmm. So I got to talk to him at the Hall of Fame archives in Toronto, upstairs from the Leafs practice facility. It's unreal in there. And we were shooting a video, and he was talking about how there were two cups. And I go, well, which one's the real one? And he said, they're both the real one.
Yeah.
And I just sort of chuckled like, yeah, but like, which one's the real one? And he goes, they're both the real one. And I'm like, okay, how much do I make this like a ha-ha bit for the video? And how much do I go, okay, yeah, but like, there was a first one, though.
Yeah.
Which one was made first? They weren't made at the same time.
You'll never get that answer.
Never.
No, it's one of my favorite like hockey conspiracy theories.
Yeah.
They have two cups.
There are two.
They're supposed to be the cup, but they're both the cup.
Which is nonsense.
Yeah. One hangs out sometimes at the Hockey Hall of Fame and the other goes on events and then they swap and then they do their thing and one's on the ice. Which one is it?
I have two co-hosts on the Steve Dangle Podcast Oh, which one's Adam and which one's Jesse?
I think it's pretty clear.
They're both my co-hosts.
One of them is the fan cup, and one of them is the real cup.
No, Adam. They're both the real cup.
But you can't, like, there's no way to know.
Okay, so when Lord Stanley donated the cup to the league in 1992, which one was it?
Which is the one Babe Dye kissed?
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is the one Charlie Conacher and Newsy Lalonde blessed with their puckering lips?
Their back passes, no forward passes.
None.
But they won't ever reveal that.
No, that's hilarious.
It's fascinating.
I wonder if they do keep a record of that, or if it's like, it's better if we all forget.
Twins, when you have twins at the hospital, you put a sticker on one.
Yeah.
Mess up the babies.
Boy, girl.
That one's kind of obvious.
Is it?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think you need a sticker for that one.
That needs stickers out of it.
All right. I don't know what you guys are talking about. It took me 3 months to figure it out. No, I'm kidding. Now, the Jesse, can you bring up the goaltender tweet that I sent you? Because there is a quote that is my favorite quote. Every year you get your favorite quotes of the season. This could be my favorite quote all time, and I just want you to look first off, because this is tragic. It's a video, Jesse. Just freeze it at the first frame.
Oh.
This is Cal Pickard did the right thing. He went out, he gave Stuart Skinner a hug, and he sat out there with him while they watched the Rats rain down. I think a few of them hit them. And they watched the Penguins celebrate. And this is before the handshake line, which we're getting to. Don't you jump the gun on that. And these two guys were a tandem that got them there 2 years in a row. Both played playoff games, consequential games, and probably both, I think, are gone. And
both.
I think, I don't know how, and I think the day, as I tweeted last night, a day that will live on in infamy. The Stan Bowman quote, and it's a short quote. Are you going to get a goaltender at the trade deadline? No. I have to say, and I know that Oilers fans are going to be in my mentions like you were last night going, that was not Stuart Skinner's fault last night. If you want to tell me that an average goaltender wouldn't have set the Oilers up for better success throughout the playoffs. I'm not even talking about a 915. I'm talking about a 905 goaltender. If you want to tell me that you couldn't have improved at that position, that it wouldn't have bettered your chances, I don't know what to tell you. If you think that goaltending and that Stan Bowman and Jeff Jackson deserve to be let off the hook for being confident in that style of goaltending. And by the way, a lot of Oilers fans were pissed at the deadline when they didn't go out and get a goaltender.
And they did some good things.
This team went to Game 6 of the Stanley Cup final this year and Game 7 last year with those two guys who are, I think, not much better than mediocre generally.
I think Skinner could be a really good tandem backup sort of goalie.
I'm sorry, whatever it is, it's not good enough.
No, I know.
McDavid and Draisaitl, 2 years in a row with these two goalies, and you could have had anybody. Last year especially, there were plenty of good goalies available. You could have spent that Jeff Skinner money on Anthony Stolarz and got him for $3 million. And
damn.
And
Stolarz makes 2.5.
Stolarz makes 2.5. Jeff Skinner makes more than that.
Former Oiler, actually, Anthony Stolarz.
Is he really?
Yes, he is.
I didn't know that.
He pinged around for a long time before he found relevance.
My point in this is, it's not to me McDavid and Draisaitl not scoring in the last few games. And I said it in the LA series, even though the Oilers came back and won. I don't think there was like one game where they let less than 4 goals in. You got to have an average goalie on this Oilers team. It doesn't have to be Bobrovsky.
They allowed at least 2 goals in every first period. In 6 games.
How do you win?
You can't. Well, you can, just not 4 out of 7. What are you supposed to do? You know what would have made this conversation so much more complicated is if Skinner was great last night and you go, well, you can't blame him. What was the third goal?
The third goal was terrible.
I still have no idea, and I doubt.
And by the way, the third goal, people don't remember. It's a puck off his chest that he needs to smother and catch, and it's a nothing shot. It's a flop shot.
It's a trickle of piss from Carter Verhaeghe.
There's a way of putting it.
That he booby deflects to Alex Barkov. I don't know what he was going for, who he thought was there, what he thought was going on. But the best two-way player in the game got the puck with one hand, apparently, because he screwed up his hand in game 1, we learned after the fact. And he sends it to one of the most lethal goal scorers in hockey. What? So the Panthers, you had to basically play mistake-free hockey against them, especially when down 2-0. I don't think I've ever seen a goalie do that.
Yeah.
Not quite like that. What were you doing?
Yeah.
I want to know what he was going for. Now,
it's up on the screen now, Maddie, if you want to throw it up. It's this. It's I
goal's
don't
insane.
understand what he was thinking. You'll see the shot come.
an XG of -6. Like, this isn't going in.
Yeah, you'll see the shot come right at his shoulder. And like you said, it's just a muffin that's being thrown on net just to get something there. And Stuart Skinner's decision-making in that moment is to just shoulder it right over to the Panthers.
And look at Barkov reading like he isn't actually. Oh, he is.
He's passing me the puck.
He passed him the puck.
Like,
he froze in the moment.
Yeah.
He froze in the moment. Like, you can't blame that on anyone but Skinner.
The defense of Skinner is that the evidence last year is that they got to Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Final, and it was a 2-1 game, and that game wasn't Stuart Skinner's fault at all.
I
thought he played a great series there. He had a great playoff run once he got going. And
had a terrible run against the Canucks. Let's just, we all forget that.
Yeah,
he was terrible against the Canucks.
When things matter, Stuart Skinner stepped up last playoffs, and the bet was that this playoffs, again, we're going to have that playoff Skinner because the evidence is there through 4 rounds of playoffs. So
he had a few exceptional games.
I understand the decision making.
Yeah.
Because, like, if you go to last year's Panthers and you say you're going to have a terrible regular season, but we're going to trust you once the playoff time comes around, they're going to be like, yeah, that's how it works. And Stuart Skinner didn't have the best regular season, but we're going to trust you when the playoffs come around because you did it last year.
And there were nights he rewarded them for it.
Yeah, and the goalie thing on the spending the money, Stuart Skinner makes like $2.6 million. Like, it's a great deal. Pickard makes $1 million. Great deal. You're spending so little on your goaltending. Like, that's great value for a guy who got you to Game 7 of the Cup Final. But in this run, you see the evidence is there now.
You're going up against Bob.
And by the way, the run, the evidence was there all season. That's the problem. Like, when we were talking about Stuart Skinner, you're right. Game 7 last year, they get all the way. And everybody, if we went into last season, the shock was that Sam Montembeault was in play for Four Nations, not Stuart Skinner. Right?
Sure.
It was like, what? And then Stuart Skinner proceeded to have a really bad October. And then not a much better November, but not great. And all season long, he's been really, really streaky.
That's why I mentioned, like, the Panthers in the tough regular season, because you can't take so much from the regular season. We see that with teams all the time.
Yeah.
And you can turn it on when the regular season is good. We started this whole thing by saying Bob wasn't the starter on their first playoff
100%.
run. So taking, Stuart Skinner wasn't that great during the regular season. I don't know how much you can really hold that against him when you expect him to show up.
So you're letting Stan Bowman off the hook for this?
No, not at all. Like, I think there's evidence to say, like, this time, okay, we know it couldn't get done. You should have done a better job utilizing only the $1 million Pickard makes as your backup to go get a solid number 2 for him. I don't know if you should have trusted Pickard as your number 2, and instead you have Stuart Skinner, who's making so little. You can pay a backup a little bit more than that.
Well, how about surround one of the youngest starting goalies in the league with someone a little bit better than Calvin Pickard?
Yeah, Stuart Skinner's 26 years old.
26. He's one of the youngest starters in the league. Mm-hmm. He's younger than Woll, I'm pretty sure, who we look at as like a tiny baby boy. He'll be 27 at the beginning of November, but he's also been the Oilers' starting goalie for at least 3 years.
Yeah,
a couple years now.
Come on.
I think the decision making from Stan Bowman should have been to get help in net, but to still have Stuart Skinner as your starter. You're getting the 1B, but Stuart Skinner should be your 1A.
Yeah,
I think the wrong choice there is having Pickard as your backup.
Calvin Pickard was a 1B for a Calder Cup run. I saw it and it worked and it was great. Like, again, he had the great record, and I think that's a testament to how good the Oilers were. People are talking about them this morning like they suck. Like,
oh no, they're
the
terrible.
Stanley Cup finalists do not stink.
They're not terrible. They're amazing.
Yeah, they're really good. I think it's a testament to them.
That's why I feel like why would you do them the disservice of not getting help?
I agree. Well, even
I
in
just
Game
don't
4,
understand it.
And we did say this on the show. Even in Game 4, when Pickard came in relief, I think it was Game 4, and only allowed the 1 goal, he looked terrible.
Yeah, he was shaky.
He was all over the place. Now, only 1 went past him. That's good enough. Great. All due respect to that guy who is such a great story. The Oilers not being able to do better than Pickard for 2 years. It's unforgivable.
It's not that they couldn't do better. It's that they chose not to. And I think that's where you've got... No. You could have done better.
Yeah.
You could have easily done better. There were other options last year. You could have done it. You didn't do it. You could have done it in free agency. You could have done it at the trade deadline. You didn't do it. So the idea that they couldn't... You're telling me not a single other goaltender could have come to the Oilers? No, that's not true. That's objectively not true. You just chose not to. And
they've had a historical
pickup of Wallman. Sure. I love the pickup of Wallman.
It's a great pickup.
I love what they did, but let's be straight. Let's just be honest here. This was never good enough. Oilers fans knew it. Management said, no, we're better. And by the way, I'm going to be straight with you. Stan Bowman doesn't exactly have a great record with picking starting goaltenders, dating all the way back to their last cup run. Like, once Crawford was done, he was done. And then who replaced him?
I don't even remember.
Exactly. It's just a bunch. Mrazek's one of them. But the Chicago Blackhawks goaltending since 2015 has been pretty suspect. And I think you need to get a guy in there as an AGM who goes, Stan, here's a good goalie. Here's what one looks like. Here's found value. I know we're capped out right now. Here's somebody like an Anthony Stolarz. I know Brossoit was signed in Chicago and he was injured most of the season. But here's somebody that we can pay less for that we think we're going to get better. We're better than their contract.
Even if you sign Brossoit and he gets hurt, like, everyone at least understands that.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, well, he got hurt.
But just do nothing? Do nothing?
Right?
Come on.
I think the mistake is with Pickard and not with Skinner. I think Stuart Skinner was good enough and had enough evidence to show that, like, hey, we can trust this guy. Remember, Jack Campbell was the original plan.
And $5 million.
They had him around and they tried so hard with Jack Campbell, and Stuart Skinner is the one who emerged out of that.
Yep.
Right. Yep. And so if you get Leafs Campbell, who there's a reason he made $5 million. The Oilers didn't lose their minds. Like, he played really well. If that's your tandem going forward, Campbell, the established-ish starter, making as much as Aiden Hill currently does, like, it's crazy. Your established starter and the young up-and-comer in Skinner, who probably overtakes him down the line. Man, that makes a lot of sense.
That looks a lot better.
And wow, did it just super not work out.
Yeah, looking at your team and saying Pickard and Skinner once again is what we're going to roll with it's a mistake.
Yep.
I also don't think they're beating the Florida Panthers with Grant Fuhr in net.
Certainly not Grant Fuhr.
I think they got confirmation bias from last year, and they're like, we can go cheap here. Mm-hmm. We can go cheap here. We know Skinner's good when it matters.
You guys aren't Grant Fuhr fans?
No, he's good.
I didn't say anything.
But I think you need. I don't think Grant Fuhr was the most dominating goaltender of his generation.
Yeah, but he's a good goalie.
He was good.
So with Grant Fuhr, I have to kind of take the word of people who were old enough to see him play in his prime. Like, growing up, to me, Grant Fuhr was a St. Louis Blue.
Yes,
because I saw him in a game, the first game I ever went to with my dad. The game-winning goal ended up going in and off the back of his head. It flipped in the air. He couldn't find it. He went like this, and he knocked it into the net.
That's an NHL video game.
It was awesome. Yes, it was. It was awesome, and I've looked for the footage, and I can't find it. It happened in 1996, I think. Anyway, to me, he was a St. Louis Blue. So when people tell me about the 80s Grant Fuhr, who would allow 5, but he wouldn't allow the 6th. And they say that with a straight face. I'm like, all right, I'm going to have to take your word for it.
I think Grant Fuhr doesn't get enough credit because he played in the 80s.
Yes.
Every goaltender who played in the 80s was Swiss cheese.
Except for Patrick Waugh. Patrick Waugh was unbelievable from day one.
90.
No, started in the 86.
He won a cup in 86.
He won a cup like on his own.
His true...
I think about his peak happened in the 90s.
Yeah. See, that's another difficult one for me. I wasn't alive when he won his first cup.
93 and 96 were obviously the Canadians and the Abs runs, but the mid-90s ones. But I mean, he was... Like, that Canadians team was okay, but
how many
by
goalies...
all rights, the Oilers should have won that cup too, is my point.
Here's the other thing about, like, winning matters. How many goalies even won a cup in the 80s?
Yeah, Ranford.
Billy Smith got like 4.
Yeah, Ranford won the first one or two with the Oilers, and then
I think he got the last one.
Oh, who was the other guy then?
Fuhr.
Yeah.
No, Ranford. I thought Ranford
got the 91, and then I think Vernon was in net for the Flames.
Yeah, so like 5 or 6. Yeah.
Like no one, practically no one, right? So this is why I think we look back at this small pocket of guys who you look at their numbers and you're like, that doesn't make any sense. But you look at their accolades and you go, oh, well.
They won.
You have to throw them in. So for people who didn't watch them at their peak, it's impossible. And you go back and look at the highlights, none of them look like they knew what they were doing. Hockey from the 80s is hilarious.
Yeah. It's
objectively hilarious to watch.
Yeah.
So funny.
Seeing Gretzky take some slap shots from like outside of the blue line
and go in.
And then the goalie doesn't know
and
what
the
to
strategy
do.
of this didn't work. Here, wait. It's just falling backward.
Now you got handprints on the mirror or in the window behind you.
Great, good.
People are going to complain.
The goalie is
Jack and
standing
Rose.
as straight as a tree, and it's just going right through his legs.
Yeah.
Like
Like
it's
you had Darren Pang in net, who was more pads than man.
Yeah. It's a
Like-
weird era of hockey.
Yes, and like I'm not taking anything away from those guys. Again, it was. I wrote about this.
I'm so glad you guys brought all this up, though, because that does mean McDavid is better than Lemieux. Sorry.
Well, I mean, okay, who's better, McDavid, who without surgery repaired his PCL, or a dude who was hacking darts between shifts?
Which was Mario? Was Mario smoking?
Yes, there's pictures of it. It's crazy.
Mario, you're crazy, man. You're crazy.
It's crazy.
Actually, I would argue Mario's better just based on the fact that he could do it with cigarettes.
It's kind of more impressive.
It is, isn't it?
Like, okay,
I'm going to take away my own lung capacity. I'm going to even this. Imagine he'd never smoked in his life.
what's more impressive, Steph Curry hitting a half-court three-pointer or Larry Bird doing it in jeans? Like, old sports are so funny.
They are, and they all wore Converse back in the day. Too.
There's a reason. Oh yeah, just they all have just flat duck feet now.
Yeah.
They're all broken. None of their bodies are shaped the way a human body is supposed to be shaped.
Yeah.
Like, there's a reason they're starting to make all these shows about sports from decades ago.
70s and 80s.
It's
yeah.
so funny.
Yeah.
It's really, really fun. Oh, if you didn't like them, you could just fight them
Yeah.
on a hardwood floor.
I think there was a game.
You could just
They're doing I think Bill Simmons is doing a Celtics version of the 80s, because there's like obviously been the Lakers one, and it's on Crave, it's on HBO. And one of the times at Boston Garden during one of the finals, like the air conditioner didn't work. So they had like 20,000 people in there, plus a game in the heat.
just all getting heat
It
stroke, just dying.
The entire place. They'd shut a game down if there was no air conditioning today.
Wham.
Yeah, it's just
The
crazy.
reason sports photos look so cool is because the air is filled with cigarette smoke.
Yes.
That smoke hazy effect is literally cigarettes in the
Yes.
stadium. And that's why the photos look so iconic.
And here's a 26-year-old man, definitely not on steroids, with George Costanza's hairline. Like,
Man, I was watching some TikToks about late 90s baseball.
Yeah.
And seeing Jose Canseco hit home runs when his shirt couldn't fit him was just fantastic.
He could barely
viewing.
move. He was so big.
How did he get away with? How did anybody from that era get away
every
with that?
baseball player from the 90s looks like those pink mannequins that you beat up in the gym.
Yeah.
Like, they're all just lats and traps and rage.
And they're like jogging around the diamond for their home runs, and they're like barely trotting. And
Oh, they're so
Yeah.
big. They can't move. They
They're
don't
too
stretch.
big.
Yeah, their knees
They were
are.
juiced
Yeah.
to the
All right,
gills.
here comes Mark McGuire. He ran an impressive 17 seconds in the 100-meter dash. Like, they're just roids on top of roids on top of. Anyway, so McDavid's pretty good.
Yeah,
So
he is.
Stuart Skinner and Grant Fuhr, I'm taking Fuhr every day.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Oh, yeah. That's fair. That's fair.
Goalies couldn't bend until like we were born.
Hey, man, that usually it was like the same stuff that filled your couch was their goaltending equipment. So it's kind of nuts to think about in retrospect. Just a bunch of feathers.
We could do this all day.
Yeah.
We could do this all day.
The Edmonton Oilers, I think, lose the Stanley Cup no matter who's in net, unless it's, I don't know, you get somebody standing on their head for 4 games. But even if they go and they get whatever's out there available for them, I still don't think they can beat the Florida Panthers. But that doesn't mean it's not an excuse for not, I think, replacing Pickard and not Skinner and getting a solid 1B.
I was getting chirped.
That's where I land on the goalie.
I was getting chirped for this. Losing Zach Hyman, having him probably isn't enough, but it would have made it a lot more interesting.
I think that game 7 would have been.
It's the playoff leader in hits.
Yeah.
The playoff leader in hits. The Panthers, by the way, led the playoffs in hits this year and last year. Actually, where was the stat I had? The Panthers of this year and last year are like the only teams of the last like decade or so to reach over 1,000. No one else had hit 900.
Wow.
Like, and just Hyman's forecheck, his goal scoring ability, his defensive ability. When they lost him, like people were like, oh, it wouldn't have mattered. Oh yeah, losing someone on your top line doesn't matter. You're right. Valedictorian, were you?
No one
like,
intelligent said that.
No one. Dude, the Oilers lost depth they already didn't have. And to me, it was the final nail.
If you're missing out on your favorite show because it's not available in your country or with your preferred streaming service, or if you're visiting another country and you're like, I would love for my information not to leak out. That'd be great. I don't want to have to call Equifax every time somebody tries to open a credit card in my name. NordVPN can help with that.
That was very specific.
Well, it happened to my wife the other day. Her information leaked on the internet. There's somebody trying to open credit cards in her name, right?
That was me.
Oh, it was you?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well,
I watched him do it.
That's okay. So listen. Grab your exclusive NordVPN deal by going to nordvpn.com/dangle. Get a huge discount off your NordVPN plan plus 4 additional months. You're going to get the discount and 4 additional months on top. Again, it's nordvpn.com/dangle, completely risk-free. Nord's got a 30-day money-back guarantee. And obviously, so Nord is great for security. It's also awesome for, hey, let me try out this country's streaming service. I can't watch that sporting event in my country because of regional restrictions, perhaps.
Well, I guess you just can't watch it.
There's a lot of footy matches around the world that people like tuning into.
Yeah. Well, listen,
and sometimes they're not available.
You might be maybe you're a Leaf fan in the Vancouver region, and the Leafs are playing a regional game that night, and you're not allowed to watch it. Well, now you maybe can with NordVPN.
Oh.
So again, it's nordvpn.com/dangle for your huge discount and 4 additional months.
The Zach Hyman thing, I think, dovetails into Chris Knoblauch a little bit because I don't think he had a good playoff.
Blind panic.
Yeah.
He lost his way coaching that team at some point during the playoffs, and I don't know when it is, but the lineup decisions he would make constantly were questionable, just like moving in and out Skinner, and the scratching of Kapanen made no sense.
That was Robertson, who did nothing.
The goalie controversy, if we want to put a little blame on him too, going back and forth with them and who we wanted to start at any moment. I think Chris Knoblauch got out coached, and I think Connor McDavid admitted it.
Yes.
Post game, Connor McDavid said, if you didn't hear it, we were banging our heads against the wall, doing the same thing over and over again. That to me is coaching, because doing the same thing over and over again is structure. That's what you want your team to do, is you want to play within your structure. You want to go out there and just play your hockey game. Mm-hmm. And I think that's Connor McDavid admitting that Chris Knoblauch had them out there doing the same thing that didn't work against the Florida Panthers because they are so good defensively. What the Oilers were trying to do wasn't working, and Chris Knoblauch told them just keep going and trying.
Yeah, but here's the thing: that's his pick for coach.
Well,
that's his
sure,
OHL coach.
Maybe now it's like he's not backing his decision anymore. Maybe now we have evidence that Chris Knoblauch got out coached and he wasn't a very good coach in this series.
I'll say 2 things. One, in defense of Chris Knoblauch, there's no line combination with the men they had that would have done anything. Mm-hmm. It wouldn't have mattered.
I think they lose anyway.
They lose anyway. Trent Fredericks on your third line.
It's the goalie thing. It didn't help, or that you had those goalies. I don't think you win anyways, but it doesn't mean you shouldn't fix it.
The Panthers are the deepest team of this generation. Marchand, Lundell, Lusterinen on your third line. Go to prison. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. They had 2 first lines, a second line, and a fourth.
The guy who scored 4 goals last night makes $8.6 million.
Yeah. And 2 top pairs.
And was nominated for the Selke. Just throwing that out there.
It's disgusting.
Yeah.
The other thing I will say...
You don't win with better coaching, because you're not beating these Florida Panthers. You get closer.
Yeah.
Same thing with the goalie situation.
I'll say, more than anything that happened yesterday, that Connor McDavid quote is what sends a shiver down my spine if I'm an Oilers fan. Mm-hmm. That was bad.
The question I would have, Steve, is, okay, if it would send a shiver down an Oilers fan's spine, why?
Your superstar, the best player in the world, who is eligible for a contract extension as of noon on July 1st.
I'm sorry, pipe down.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Sorry. Second best to every Penguin. If Connor McDavid...
He's no Brian Rust.
Was Brian Rust... It's the name, right?
It is.
It's a great name.
It is.
That's why we both thought the same thing.
Yeah.
Same wavelength.
Yes.
High five for Brian Rust. Anyway, If Connor McDavid was anything like Brian Rust, they'd be fine. Listen, your superstar, who's the best player in the world, who's eligible for a contract extension noon on July 1st, is unhappy. Now, there are levels to unhappiness. There's, I'm unhappy right now in the moment. I just lost the Stanley Cup for the second straight year. I'm unhappy about that. He was the only Oiler I saw answer any questions. Was he the only one?
No. Draisaitl and Ekholm did.
Oh, okay. I got
a bunch of their quotes.
Oh, okay. I didn't look particularly hard. It's just, I was up.
Clearly.
I was up till 3 bloody last night, and then I came here. But sometimes you say things that your friends or coworkers or teammates might forgive you for, but they'll never really forget.
Too many passengers? That's Matthews' quote after they got eliminated.
You know what would have been a great follow-up question? Who? This team's going to bring back a lot of the same players. Who are the passengers, Austin? Connor, same thing. We're trying the same thing over and over and over and over. How am I supposed to interpret that as anything but an indictment of Chris Knoblauch?
Well, what did Nathan McKinnon say after Game 7 against Dallas this year? It was sort of like, I don't know what we're going to do, but we can't. It was sort of like, and then Joe Sakic immediately is like, we're bringing everybody back, and then signed Brock Nelson, and who didn't have the best first round, and
we might do this later, but the Tage Thompson quote,
we'll get to that.
Yeah, we'll get to it. Yeah, but like, it's a cry for help. And sometimes you say things in the heat of the moment, but I'd take Connor McDavid at his word.
Would you fire Chris Knoblauch?
No.
No.
2 years in a row he's been in the Cup final. I don't think you can fire him for that, but he has been.
Even Jay Woodcroft was rough. Like, his win percentage was insane.
Yep. Yeah, it was.
Firing Chris Knoblauch would be far more unjustifiable. I mean, if Chris Knoblauch's job
goaltending first. I think you got to switch the goaltending first. I think
there's clear evidence that he got out coached and he didn't really know what he was doing come the end of the finals. And like the Pete DeBoer situation, like, I don't care how much you almost win. If you don't get it done, you're not the right guy.
Well, Pete DeBoer's available. Do you go get Pete DeBoer and have him bench Connor McDavid?
I think that would be
in the Western Conference final.
That would be lunacy. Lunacy.
Yeah.
I'm kidding, by the way. I don't think any of that's going to happen.
Yeah,
Knoblauch's going to be fine.
Yeah. I mean, geez, if he's not safe, who the hell is?
Yep.
But it was definitely
here's some
a cry for help, I think, from Connor.
Here's some of the other quotes that Connor gave. He said, their forecheck was great. They tilted the rink. They were able to stay on top of us all over the place, and we really were never able to generate any momentum up the ice. Yep. We kept trying the same thing over and over again, banging our heads against the wall. They have great players. How many guys had 20-plus points this postseason?
6?
That's what he said. They're as deep as it comes. And I don't know if you guys want me to. I've got Leon's as well.
Sure.
We battled, but we're not leaving here as winners. They were just better, just deeper. I mean, the third line scored how many goals? Which was 8. It wasn't their top 2 lines. The third line did a lot of their damage. We saw that in the Leafs series. They just ate the Leafs alive.
Killed them.
That third line is as good as any second line in this league. And you could argue like Lindell could be the first line center on like 20 teams in this league.
I said it before. I'll say it again. Leafs are up 2-0 on the Florida Panthers. Matthews is straight up one-on-one beating Alex Barkov. Game 3, Leafs go up. It's Matthews and Barkov again. He's eating his lunch again. They swap Barkov and Lindell. Series is over. They win 4 of the next 5. Kill them.
And
the dude's incredible. It's crazy that he's 23 years old. It's crazy that he went on this playoff run as a third liner. It's crazy that he's locked up long term
till 2030.
It's ridiculous the luxury they have with Lindell.
The Panthers have never ended a season with Anton Lindell without winning a team trophy. President's Trophy, Eastern Conference, Stanley Cup.
This stat I'm about to give you is the reason why I believe the Oilers need to go further than just replacing Cal Pickard next year.
Okay.
The Panthers led the series 255 and 49 seconds, 255 minutes and 49 seconds. The Oilers led it 33 minutes. almost 34, 33-51.
I'm surprised it was that much.
I don't think Florida took control of every game from the first period. They outscored Edmonton 10-0
What?
in 4 of those opening frames. So basically, that's a quote from a Spec article. But 10-0 in 4 of 6 games in the first period is friggin'. How do you do that?
It's a slightly cherry pick stat, but it's crazy.
I don't mind
in
that.
In 4
out
of the 6 games, like what?
What happened to the other 2?
Well,
what's their record in games they lost?
How many guys? I think. Listen, far be it from me. But I think Spec's onto something there.
Yes,
because they lost 4 games in the series.
So if you just took the score from the first period in every game this series, it would make the same point. But there was no need for him to.
Yes, thank you.
It was,
but 10-0's so much cleaner.
No, but it was so widely lopsided in the first period. Just take that number. It actually would be more impactful because it'd be the whole series.
Right.
Connor McDavid has never scored on a shift where he was scored on. Until he improves that stat, the Oilers are going to keep losing.
I want to talk about Sam Bennett winning the Conn Smythe. 11 first place votes out of the 18 voters. And
Marchand was pretty close.
Yeah, Marchand was pretty good. I'll give you the full vote breakdown. So it was Sam Bennett got 76 points in terms of the votes. So 11 first place, 7 second place, 0 third place. Marchand got 7 first place votes, 11 second place, 0 third place. Bobrovsky had 10 third place votes. Draisaitl got 7. Forsling got 1 third place vote.
Okay. Forsling, who I don't think had the greatest playoff, had a very good final.
And people are upset that
shut down Connor McDavid.
People are upset that Barkov didn't get any votes. I'm like, I don't know if you were watching the series or not, but he was not at his best.
That's purely name brand.
Yeah, 100%.
And he wasn't bad, but no, he was playing hurt all playoff.
He had to glue his hand shut after game 1, which is kind of nuts. That's all come out.
Yeah, and he got friggin' drilled in the first round. All playoff long. I think, are we all in agreement that this year's Panthers are clearly better than last year?
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
What makes that Herculean to me is Reinhart was playing with partially torn or sprained MCL. Barkov was playing with the hand injury.
I think Tkachuk's got a knee injury. Pretty sure
it's a torn adductor off the bone.
Ooh.
Yeah, he revealed it in the post game to Pang.
Tkachuk.
So he wouldn't reveal it to Sportsnet. They asked him, and then he gave it to Pang.
That was weird.
Yeah. That was weird. He has ties with him because they're St. Louis connection.
Right.
Where his dad played all along.
Yeah, but
he's. I think Pang's known him since he was a kid.
Yeah.
So he asked and he gave him the info.
Sure.
I get it.
Fine.
Yeah, it's Tkachuk.
But he's in their 2 cup runs in 23 and 24, cup final and cup. Tkachuk was dominant. And even though he still found a way to put up points, he scored a few goals in the series. It's clear he wasn't the same. Mm-hmm. He couldn't carry the puck, right? Think of how many shifts. It's all Bennett.
Yeah.
On that line. A lot of Verhaeghe, but
as things went along,
he did, which is crazy. He was actively recovering as the playoffs went.
Yeah.
It's absolutely insane. But think of how important Barkov is, how important Tkachuk is, how important Reinhart is. All of them were hurt. And I know guys are always dealing with injuries, especially the deeper you go into the playoffs. Tkachuk's injury is gruesome.
Yeah. He said the adductor off the bone, but he also said in some kind of hernia thing. That's the
he got a hernia. Calle Yarncroke, I think, had an injury that then led to a hernia, which is why he missed so much time this year. So I think...
Why did he play through it like Tkachuk?
I think Tkachuk is saying...
I think Tkachuk's maybe better.
Well... That's got nothing to do with better. That's just what you're willing to play through. In 2023, he played through a broken sternum. And here he played through a torn off the bone adductor.
Yeah. He's also better.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. No one's
baseline's better than Calle Yarncroke's baseline.
Usain Bolt is he's not the fastest man alive anymore, but whatever. Let's say he still is the fastest man. He breaks his femur. I guarantee you I beat him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Steve, to your point about like he couldn't move, he dominated on the power play.
Yes.
I think he had 11 power play points throughout these playoffs, and that's because he didn't have to move. They
time to
knew
shine.
where to park him, and when Tkachuk could just stand still and not have to move his torn adductor, he was still the Tkachuk guy we know. And as the playoffs went along, he was talking about how he was healing, getting better, and you could clearly see it by the time the games 4, 5, and 6 roll around. He was basically almost close to back to Tkachuk.
Every time there was a foot race, he lost it. Every time.
Yes.
And then the defensive plays he made last night to clinch it. Like, this year's Panthers are clearly better, which is insane because their best players from last run were clearly worse.
Yes, but the reason they're clearly better is because they're deeper this year.
Yes.
They're deeper throughout the entire
And one of their best
thing.
defensemen got a nice little break right before the playoffs. I don't know if that suspension has ever been better timed than Aaron Ekblad.
Yeah, and they added a right shot who's just
because
as good
Aaron
as the
Ekblad
guy.
was suspended.
No, they didn't do that.
How could they have afforded him otherwise? They couldn't have afforded Seth Jones without Aaron Ekblad, I don't think. Or somebody else on
No,
LTR. It was Tkachuk and
The
Marchand.
timing doesn't line up there.
yeah,
it's
the
just
timing.
extraordinarily.
I'm tinfoil hat about that shit.
Oh, I
all
am
day.
too. I am too. Because I'm willing to bet he didn't take the piss test that day
Yeah, they knew.
that he was suspended. Listen, that is not talked about nearly enough. And I think people really like Aaron Ekblad. I like Aaron Ekblad.
Sure.
But 20 games for performance enhancers,
Right before the playoffs,
I'm going to go ahead and say that's not enough.
I think it helped him. He's fresh, man. He's fresh. He missed a quarter of the season. And also, let's just call it what it is. Like the salary cap issue in the playoffs has become such an issue that we already know that the next CBA, which is going to be revealed in the next couple of weeks here, is going to have a provision for salary cap in the playoffs. They are bringing that in. That's
funny.
happening.
It's funny because the league did flag that issue with 2 teams this year. Who are they?
I bet the Leafs.
The Avalanche
Uh-huh.
and the Oilers.
Oh.
Because of Landeskog and Kane.
Kane. And they had to set out a couple extra games.
Panthers, precious baby. Precious baby.
I thought it was really smart of them to bring in Jones and have that
Brilliant.
He was so good.
a first pairing defenseman on their second pair right side right after Ekblad. Like it speaks to just how incredibly deep they are. And you have a guy like Nate Schmidt who at one point was a top line defenseman and now he's transitioned into his third pairing. And it reminds me of what they had with OEL last year, where you had a guy who was tasked with all of the big minutes in Arizona, and then he goes to Vancouver and we know how that mess went. And now you bring him to Florida where it's like, you can just sit back, do your thing. We got our big guys here. And then Nate Schmidt's the same thing and Seth Jones the same thing. They're so incredibly deep, it's unfair.
Drew asked me on the stream, he goes, how many goals do you think their D-core got throughout the playoffs? And I went with what I thought was a huge number. I said 15.
Yeah.
He goes 17.
All 7 defensemen who took the ice for the Florida Panthers in this playoff scored a goal. At least one.
Including, was it Uvis Balinskis?
Yeah, Balinskis has a goal.
Yeah.
They've
Against the Leafs.
7 defensemen scored a goal these playoffs.
It's crazy.
Like, what is that? That's fun. This video game numbers.
And it's, you know what kills me, I think, if I'm an Oilers fan? Because yesterday in the video, I go, the Panthers had 19 different players. It was either get a point or score a goal in these playoffs. And I was like, that's so incredible. Mm-hmm. And I said to myself, you know what? Just check the Oilers just in case. They had 20.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah.
But
for the Oilers.
Goaltending.
They weren't there in this series.
Anyway.
Yeah.
No. Like goaltending, yes. But, Connor is getting a lot of flack. Draisaitl's getting a lot of flack. Not nearly as much because he had the 2 OT winners. Who else showed up?
Yeah. I agree. I mean,
Nuge was good at the beginning.
You had to demote Evander Kane and bench Troy Stecher. That's where Knoblauch lost me. Why are you benching guys in the finals?
There's a story untold there, by the way, and it sort of slid under the radar because supposedly, I don't know if this is 100% true. I wasn't looking for it. When Kane was kicked out of the game, he did not come back out for handshakes.
That is fact.
That is a fact.
That is fact?
Yeah.
Baby.
It's a horrible look, and I'm not about to defend him. What I am going to say is James Duthie, before last night, talked about there are lines that you don't cross typically, and this year they don't appear to be there when it comes to trash talk in the series. The first thing I thought of was 2022, Matthew Tkachuk mouthing, well, not mouthing, he said it to Evander Kane, but he did this sign just so we all knew exactly what he was talking
going
about.
through his bankruptcy.
He goes, you need some money? You need some money? I mean, that's a piece of shit line to cross. The hate between those two men is very genuine. And I think if Evander Kane goes back out there for handshakes, to throw in hands. Well, he is.
Or you could be an adult.
Yeah.
I do agree.
I'm sorry.
You have
He's
to
in his 30s.
You have to go out there. I agree.
You're in your 30s.
You're making an excuse here.
No.
Yeah, that's defending him.
You have to go out there. No, it's not. You have to go out there. I would just love to know what was said.
I think
I agree with you there. I'd love to know what was said. Are you kidding me? Yeah.
You don't love drama? Come on, I want to know what he said.
I don't think you can say not to defend the guy and then provide a defense for him.
That's not a defense.
That's an excuse. If he had gone out there, they might have fought.
Nope.
Evander Kane, to get himself thrown out of the game, just started slashing the man.
Yeah.
Like you can't do that. It's a Stanley Cup final. You're still not, like, you can come back. You're the Edmonton Oilers. What are you doing? And he got himself kicked out of the game, and I think he's a big baby for not going back out.
It's a absolutely abysmal look.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
Another abysmal look. Are you ready?
Not to provide a defense.
Jesse, can you pull up the handshake line picture that I sent you? Because I can confirm through somebody else, and I won't say who, that there was a discussion had about the coaches in the handshake line. And,
oh my God.
And that Paul Maurice did signal to Chris Knoblauch to not go into the handshake line with the players. And Chris Knoblauch completely ignored him and went in. And so therefore, Paul Maurice went into the handshake line with the players.
Wasn't a discussion. I think it was
Maurice. Paul Maurice was like, stay
Paul
over
Maurice
here.
Tried to do his thing and nobody listened.
And Chris Knoblauch said, you're not big dogging me, dude. So and I respect the hell out of Chris Knoblauch for that. Can you show the picture, please?
I can't. No.
You can't?
No.
Why not?
I'm waiting for it to load.
Oh, okay. All right.
There was a tweet of, it was Paul Maurice holding the Stanley Cup and kissing it, and it's on camera, and he's on the ice, and everyone can see it. It's a tale as old as time. The head coach gets to hoist the Stanley Cup.
As they should.
It was ConMen1 on Twitter said, I'm shocked he lifted the cup. I mean, the players won it. They don't want to see some guys in suits lift the cup, do they? Listen, Paul Maurice is a lovely man, a lovely quote, and a great coach. He's got to knock that shit off. Who the fuck cares? Get in line and shake hands, you weirdo.
Well, and if you're an opposing coach, don't acquiesce to it. Rod Brind'Amour, I think his greatest... Well,
they know each other, right?
No, I think if you were to ask him honestly, he's been openly talking about it. I think one of his great regrets from this playoffs is not going into that handshake line.
Yes.
Why would you listen to the other coach? I don't care if I know you. I'm getting in the handshake line. Who are you? And I got to say, do you remember the Sean Fitzgerald article from The Athletic about Mike Babcock's accent and how they couldn't place it because he'd made it up?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Paul Maurice is developing the same accent. Go and listen to a Paul Maurice press conference and then compare it to Mike Babcock. It's the same. He's
coming up with his own rules.
You don't like this man, Adam.
Oh, I like him fine. I just think he's full of himself. And you know what? He should be.
I mean, like John Cooper's full of himself. Oh, like 100%. All these guys are.
I'm not mad about it.
Yeah.
If you were to say, who would you rather have in the Leafs organization, Sam Bennett or Paul Maurice? It's Sam Bennett 10 times out of 10.
Yeah. Well, dude.
But I think that you have to give the respect where it's due. But I also need to tell you, I don't think anyone talks like that.
Whatever. I like
beyond that, I'm begging the press corps. I know we're grading on a curve here in the NHL, but every mid joke that Paul Maurice tells, it's new Wes McCauley.
Oh, for fuck.
It is.
Oh my God.
It is. There it is.
Paul Maurice was very right to do the handshake thing. Maddie threw up the picture now. I think this proves the point that it was never that big of a deal to him, and he acts like things are a big deal to draw attention to himself.
You justified this.
That's why I was trying to explain, when this originally came up, Paul Maurice is just doing this for attention because it's good for his team when he gets attention. It's not on the players.
And now he's going back on his morals, he explained, he's like, here's why I don't do it. Even though I've done it many times, including recently.
Yeah.
Including 2 weeks before.
Here's why I don't do it. All right, I'll do it.
So it was he just said that to say it because it was a good quote, and it was never about like anything deep in his core. He did it, like you said, a week earlier, or a series earlier, and they did this time because in that moment he just felt like saying that and made a big headline, and they weren't talking about the players and everything's about Paul Maurice, and that was good for his team to win. And now it doesn't really matter. He's lifting the Stanley Cup. Who cares what I do?
And now that it's the offseason, he can put one of his Paul Maurice fart-scented candles into the Stanley Cup, light it, and sniff out of the Stanley Cup.
Yeah, this was a master class in coaching.
Yep.
I think two things can be true at once. He is the best coach right now, anyway. Yep. And that's fucking weird.
What is weird?
The handshake thing.
No, but I don't think it's weird at all because he never meant it.
I think, Jesse, you're giving him too much credit. I think you're giving him too much credit. I think we're saying that Paul Maurice is doing this on purpose. I think he's trying to get his camera moment. I don't think he's not trying to get his camera moment.
Is the cup not good enough?
But it's not for the betterment of the team. It's for Paul. No. You say it's for the team. I do not believe that. Not for a second do I believe that.
You think he's an egomaniac.
I think he's full of himself.
I kind of believed it heading into the cup final, but it's like you won. When does the cup-winning coach not shake hands with the other team? That's insane.
Well, he did.
No, I know he did, but he tried not to.
He did try not to last night.
Oh, yeah. Just stick to the bit.
I don't think he's that smart. I don't think anybody's like, oh man, I know how this will play out.
I think he is. I'm giving him credit. I think he knows what he's doing.
He would love that you're doing this, by the way. He would love this.
That's good. I'm giving him credit. I think he knows what he's doing. I think he knows everything needs to be about the team. It's something the Florida Panthers preach all of the time. Everything is about the team. It's the first thing Matthew Tkachuk talks about. It's the first thing everybody credits them with doing is having the best culture in the whole league. I don't think Paul Maurice is out there trying to do things that are above the team. I think when he does something, it's for the betterment of the entire organization and the guys on the ice.
I tell you what, I don't think there's been a team in recent memory that was so only appealing to themselves as this Florida Panthers. Yeah.
But man, if you were a Panthers fan,
if you're a Panthers fan,
freaking love these guys.
This has been the best.
This is the greatest thing.
And 16 months of your life.
One day this cup streak will break for them, and it'll be somebody else.
It might not.
But I don't think. Yeah, it might not. I don't think anybody will enjoy it as much as the Florida Panthers and their fans.
Nobody's gonna do it like these guys because they're so good at the media narrative thing. They're so good at talking about being Panthers and just dunking on everybody.
Dude, Tkachuk. Talking about McDavid and going, where he's going to win a cup wherever that is. You're a sadist. You're a sadistic piece of shit. And then singing Pink Pony Club in the locker room, the Oilers win song.
Nobody's going to do it like that ever.
They are just turning the knife, and I got to say it's tremendously on brand.
That's why I'm going to give Paul Maurice the credit. I think he knows what he's doing.
I think their cup parade is going to come, and you know how they're always wasted when they get on the mic? The greatest offenders of that in recent memory were the Capitals in 2018. Just plowed.
Marchand in 2011 trying to do black and yellow.
I thought about that too. Hilarious. Oh, so we got
Brett Hall during the Blues parade.
We went Blues. He didn't even play. Like we got Marchand with his liver 14 years older.
Yeah. Like
great in dad mode. If he's not asleep, he's going to be. And these guys are, honest to God, I wouldn't be surprised if they get on the mic and they're just like, Tampa, shit, Toronto, ass, Carolina, bullshit. Like, they're just going to keep turning the knife.
Best player in the world, calm down.
Yeah.
What do you say?
Connor, pipe down. Pipe down. Was it pipe down?
Pipe down. Nothing's stopping the Capitals. I think they peaked at drinking beer.
TJ Oshie pulled his shirt over his face and drank a beer through it.
I don't know. Jesse, can you play without audio? Can you play the video? This is a cell phone video of Nate Schmidt at the elbow room a few minutes ago.
They're just like actively on a reign of terror.
Yes. Yeah.
That's hilarious.
And also I got this picture of Brad Marchand. I don't know.
This is great. Like, this is all happening in real time.
Yes. Yeah. The videos are sort of coming out and they're celebrating. And by the way, at the Elbow Room earlier this morning, Panthers fans were chanting, "Thank you, Boston," when Marchand came to the...
Just why not?
Why not? Enjoy it, right? Enjoy it. So that's Nate Schmidt having the best damn time in the middle of the parade.
Not parade, just like...
No, not parade, yeah.
Just celebrating.
The non-parade, the celebration. And then if you could pull up this Brad Marchand thing I sent you. By the way, this is Danny Knoll that posted it. Bleacher Report reposted it. And Brad Marchand has 3 drinks and a cigar.
I need
a coffee, a spiked iced tea, and an elbow beer. Because he's holding the beer with his elbow.
So I assume this cigar is the same cigar place that I'm about to talk about, but the person who runs the cigar shop where the Panthers get their cigars from offered to send us some of the championship cigars. Mm-hmm. And Steve said, "No, I don't smoke cigars." Adam, do you think that was the right decision to turn down these free cigars?
No.
Like, we could have just had them and put them in the office.
Why didn't we take them?
Can we say yes?
Steve said no. I asked him.
Why would you say no?
Because they offered to send them to Steve directly. It wasn't to all of us. It was to Steve. They reached out. And Steve's
you don't
like,
puff on a cigar?
And Steve's like, no, I don't.
Once in your life?
I've done it. I hated it.
All he sent me. No,
I
don't
smoking.
Smoke cigars.
I hate smoking. I've hated it since I was a kid.
But it's about the keepsake.
It's the
What am I going to say? Adam, first of all, the king of just throwing shit away. You want these cigars you're not going to use?
Donating.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You want these cigars you're not going to use?
I would puff on a cigar if there was a reason to celebrate.
I've never seen you puff on a cigar in your life.
I have done it.
When?
It's been a while. Listen, you got to have things to celebrate. Like, you got to have a Stanley Cup
That's fair.
thing to celebrate.
That's fair.
Steve's got a point that Adam would probably throw them in the trash that hour after they were.
No.
Not the cigars. All the other
He'll
shit on Steve's
re-gift
desk.
them to us for Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
Listen, I look at Steve's desk, which he never uses, and it's populated by so many pieces of merch. It's literally Steve's desk is only there to hold up the merch that he has that was overflowing in his house.
It's funny because you said that, and I'm like, I have lots of stuff that I use my desk all the time. Oh, the one at the office.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I don't.
No, you don't. Okay, so
Marchand. Looks good.
Marchand looks like he's having a good time. Look at that.
I assume the cup's still broken.
Yeah, I would think so. They haven't taken the soldering gun out yet.
Unless they got the second one that is also real.
Justin Fisher sent over something about the Stanley Cups. Apparently there's 3 of them.
Oh, piss off.
Because they have...
and they're all real.
They have the one that's like the fan cup. Let me just pull this up. There are actually 3 Stanley Cups. The original bowl of the Dominion Hockey Challenge Cup, the authenticated presentation cup, and the spelling corrected permanent cup.
Oh.
So, and that's on display at the Hockey Hall of Fame whenever the presentation cup is not available.
So which one do they have right now?
We don't know.
Are you ready to hear the next?
Philip Pritchard will never reveal it.
The new Core 4?
Ugh.
This is from the Two Mutts Hockey Podcast. Starting next year, the new Core 4 will be on the Edmonton Oilers. $14 million for Leon Draisaitl, $12.5 for Connor, $10 for Evan Bouchard, and $9.25 for Darnell Nurse.
That Bouchard deal is not real.
Well, it's going to be. It's going to be. And, by the way, what's Connor McDavid going to make? Connor McDavid's going to make an insane amount of money. Like, if July 1st rolls around and there's no... who cares what the Oilers do July 1st? Don't even bother. Just be like, Connor, let's sit down and talk about this.
If Leon makes 14, I don't think the Oilers should pick up the phone with a number lower than 15. Like, I'm talking, that's where negotiations begin. I hang up on you and get a U-Haul bound for Toronto.
Judd Moldover's got to start at 17.
Yeah. Oh, at least he might, honest to God, start at 20. Start at 20 and obviously come down. I don't think Connor McDavid's going to make 20.
You could justify.
He might.
31 other teams would pay him that.
You'd be dumb. You'd be so stupid not to.
Right.
Do you think a deal gets done early July?
Nope.
No? You think he waits and sees?
Yep.
Do you think so?
This wound's fresh.
Do you think, guys, that Connor McDavid gets to the summer without an extension done? Because I think
Get through the summer?
If we go to training camp and there's no extension done, the only thing people are talking about next season is when's that the Mick extension going to be done. And if it's not, we're talking about July 1st real early. Like July 1st, 2026.
Do the Oilers have incentive to sign it?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does Connor?
I don't know.
I know. No.
What if he wants to stay in Edmonton?
Yeah, other than that.
If he wants to stay in Edmonton, you get it done. But even if he wanted to stay in Edmonton, and like I'm not saying he's leaving, what's the rush?
Just go see what they do first.
Yes. I'm obviously not happy.
My bet
with how
is
things went.
August 14th, Connor McDavid signs an extension.
Right in the middle of our vacation.
Something like that, where it's like after all the deals are done, he sees the team, he's thought about it a little, he wants to commit like Draisaitl, and I don't think it's 8 years. I think he's too smart to sign an 8-year deal at this cap hit when the cap's going up to, reported now it's going even higher than it was before.
That's from like the Chris Johnston show.
Could be like 118 in a couple of years. I think he signs like a 3-year deal. Mid-August.
I'm going to go, if he signs an extension in Edmonton, right before the Olympics.
Okay. That's a long wait.
It sure is.
It's a long wait. I think it gets done. I think it's a short one. I think he re-ups in a couple years for the $25 million.
Yeah, because the cap's just going to explode.
Is Draisaitl's 8?
8 years, $14 million.
Yeah, it's till 2033.
I think Leon maybe shouldn't have signed such a long extension.
Yeah, Draisaitl.
I think he's fine.
There.
You think so? You think he's okay with just 14?
He'll be okay.
All right.
I think he likes Edmonton. $14 million.
Speaking of notable extensions, Matt Rempe has re-signed with the New York Rangers as of this morning.
We just started the show with that.
I know we should. $975,000.
How much?
$975 each year.
Oh wow!
I know.
That's
You know what's crazy about that? Think of the amount of conversation that is had about Matt Rempe around the hockey world. 2 years, $975.
Yeah.
Like any other player,
One
you're
of the
like, why is that
higher
even a
selling
story?
jerseys.
Sorry,
Yeah, one of the higher selling jerseys on the Rangers too. Rempe.
he's underpaid.
You
Just
could
based
say.
on that.
This is like us making a big deal about the Nick Robertson extension.
Yeah.
know?
Which could be coming any day.
Who makes more next year, Robertson or Rempe?
Robertson made like 1.2 this year, isn't it?
No,
He made $875.
I think it was
Oh,
$875.
was it not $1 million?
No.
Ooh.
Oh, I thought he got up to $1 million.
I think it was $875.
Oh, all right. I guess we got a challenge here.
What are the betting odds? We should check BetMGM on that one.
Oh no.
Interesting, huh?
I think Robertson more. Oh, maybe
Robertson's
not.
last
With the Leafs or
contract
not?
was $875. You guys are correct. He's made this minimum $796, and then $875 was his new cap hit. So he's due for a raise, I guess.
Adam said with the Leafs or not. Not.
Not. Me too. I believe not as well. Friedman also said today that Zibanejad has not yet been asked to waive his no-trade clause by the Rangers, despite reports out of New York that maybe that's already happened. That doesn't mean, though, that they haven't talked to him about it. He just hasn't been asked to waive. The one thing I will say that makes it a lot less interesting, but usually the boring outcome is the right one, is Mike Sullivan flew to Sweden to meet with Mika and his wife.
Nice.
Ooh.
So, I mean, that's a good head coach thing.
What if he just wanted the trip?
What if you just want to go to Stockholm?
It's nice.
Get some warm
It's
chocolate.
very nice.
You know?
I could see
know?
that. On James Dolan's money?
I would love
Oh,
to
no.
take
James
that.
Dolan will make you pay for that.
No. That'd be brutal.
Wow. Did Mika Zibanejad meet Mike Sullivan at the burger place he owns?
Well, that's a good question.
I forget what it's called, but I went there and it was lovely.
Mika's Burgers.
Yeah, Zaburgerjad. It's called.
The Burger Jad.
That's
Wow.
good.
Actually, I forget what it's called.
I like it. Should be that.
That's one of your best.
One of his best. Jesse,
the
no
Burger
way.
Jet.
Jesse's
Burger
like-
Jet that quick? Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
There are rumors this morning swirling about. There already was rumors between the Isles and the Bruins. Apparently, the Bruins really want JG Pageau, which is interesting because getting another defensive-minded center that doesn't score is a hilarious choice for the Bruins.
Gotta have a brand.
Lindholm's not scoring 40 goals again, but that's your guy. Fine. They want to get Pageau because they got to replace probably Charlie Coyle's role. And what's interesting is this trade may evolve because Matthew Darche, by the way, this will be the first trade he pulls off. Matthew Darche is interested in acquiring the Bruins' 7th overall pick. Ostensibly,
I mean, so am I.
So they have So they have the opportunity to get James Hagens as well, because I think it's going to be Schaefer or Misa that go at the top. Hagens grew up an Islanders fan, had Islanders seasons tickets, and obviously the Islanders are looking to get a lot younger, despite the fact that Lou Lamoriello locked up 2 old guys right before he left because Lou always gets the last laugh. I do think Darche's vision is to make this team a lot younger and bring in a guy like Hagens. And hopefully Hagens 7th is the furthest he will probably fall.
Isn't the better route to take 3 from the Blackhawks, who are also shopping that pick? I would take Hagens at 3.
I think the question is, what do the Blackhawks want that the Islanders can give? Do they want Pageau?
Are you trying to say the Islanders would go from 1st to 7th or 1st and 7th?
1st and 7th.
Yeah.
Okay. And they're giving up what to get the 7th?
We don't know yet, but Pageau will be a part of the deal, and there would be a lot more.
There's a lot missing from that deal.
Well, yeah. Obviously, I said it was a Pageau deal that's now morphed into a bigger deal.
That would be huge.
And
that's transformation.
And I wondered if weird Noah Dobson, or do they try Canadian Noah Dobson? Do they try to solve that? I mean, he's still a really young defenseman.
Mm-hmm.
Do you try to solve that problem internally by just bringing him back to what he was? Or is that
Boston?
something?
Yo, McAvoy Dobson? Holy shit. Now, the problem there is Dobson can't get the most money out of that situation because it doesn't make any sense. You have McAvoy making 9-ish.
Mm-hmm. He also had an off season. He was not as good last year.
Oh, Dobson, yeah. I was like, well, McAvoy got hurt. But, man, that would be insane. I just don't know how that money would work out.
I just wondered about that because they're saying Besser's not going to go, and who was the other guy? It was untouchable on their roster. My question is for the Islanders, if they're going to...
You mean Horvat?
Horvat is, sorry.
There you go.
Horvat, not Besser. Why did I say Canucks?
Former Canucks.
Yeah, Horvat and...
Pedersen.
No. Horvat and the other guy. Barzal. Yeah. There we go. Yeah. Those are the guys. Bieksa, yes. Those guys are the untouchables. I'm curious about how Matthew Darche wants to play this.
Mason Raymond.
Pageau leaving makes a lot of sense.
Yes, it does. That is a confusing one for Boston. I don't
think Boston thinks they're bad.
No, because they're not. They're right.
And that's why I think if you're Ottawa or Montreal, you can't expect that you're going to make the playoffs next year. Because the Rangers will be back and the Bruins will be back. I'm not saying that they'll be great, but they will be back.
They're both good teams on the rise, good young teams on the rise, but too many things went wrong for Boston last year, and too much of them falling off at the end of the season was artificial.
Injuries,
and they traded everything that wasn't bolted to the floor. They traded Justin Brazeau.
Mm-hmm. Trent Frederick. Marchand.
Marchand's a little, different, but Coyle. They got rid of everybody.
Yeah. They have some holes to fill. And they have some assets to do it.
And they have lots of money in free agents.
Their starting goaltender didn't have a training camp.
Yeah. I wonder if Fraser Minton goes to the Islanders.
I'll beat you up.
Oh, I wonder. Because, if you got a young center and the Islanders are looking to get a little younger, and Pageau...
That actually does make a lot of sense.
That makes some sense. I'm just saying.
It does.
I don't know if Hagens is sticking around till 7.
I don't know that he is either, but that seems to be why they would want to do it.
Right. I think he needs to be an Islander. It would be so cool. And I think 3 would probably be safe for that. Ideally you get 5, but that pick's not trading. The Blackhawks seem to want to move out of 3 to get some help. So I don't know. I don't know if he's fallen till 7.
I am immediately going to Corey Pronman's mock draft from The Athletic because this sick individual, this absolute nut.
What happened?
Pronman?
Pronman.
Yeah.
Why?
He did, so this is his article, NHL Mock Draft 2025, starting with Schaefer. Pronman makes all 224 picks.
What a lunatic. What an
You didn't know he wrote this?
lunatic.
What is wrong with him?
Complete nut. So I'm not going to read his whole article, but here's how he has it shaken out. Schaefer 1, Misa 2. Schaefer Islanders, Misa 2 to the Sharks, Frundell 3 to the Blackhawks, 4 Brady Martin to the Utah Mammoth, Caleb Denoyer 5th to the Preds, Jake O'Brien 6 to the Flyers, Roger McQueen 7 to the Bruins, and then James Hagens 8th to Seattle.
All right.
Maybe they looked at that and said, well,
Yeah,
if Lightning McQueen is going at 7, then we got a chance.
One of those names wasn't Porter Martone. I just, for my own curiosity, who's going 224th?
That's insane.
Patrick Volas to the Edmonton Oilers. Look out for him. It's happening.
Who are the Leafs selecting?
Who are the Leafs selecting?
What are they,
like
what's
when?
the first pick? Second round.
Second round. The Leafs are proud to select with the
You got to do a lot of scrolling.
63rd overall pick, Peyton Kettles, a defenseman, 6'5", from Swift Current.
I hear he burns hot.
Hey. Oh, he's steamy. Oh, hey.
Peyton Kettles.
What's the T on him? Oh, hey.
A Swift Current Bronco.
Yes.
All right.
Indeed.
Yes.
There you go.
I don't know. Born September 1st, 2007. Defenseman. He's 6'5".
That's what it said.
196.
6'5",
centimeters.
196 pounds.
No, centimeters.
Oh,
That's 196
I was like,
centimeters.
what?
He's 194 pounds.
No, my God.
There you go. Right shot. Yeah, that's
Hilarious.
You just 6'5", up 194. You just hand him a water bottle. He takes a swig. Ew, this is peanut butter. Yeah, get drinking.
Here, yeah, drink some gravy, buddy. So first off, it's so nice to know that the Leafs are going to draft the next Norris Trophy winner. That's great.
I'm so excited to see where they trade him.
The new Quentin Hughes. Mm-hmm. That's what I always say about Kettles.
In 53 games.
How many?
14 points in 53
That's
games.
a tree living guy right there.
That has Emily Rassinen written on it.
Yeah. 100%. Okay. On the Buffalo Sabres, first off, we got to talk about this clip from the Cam and Strick podcast. Tage Thompson was talking about, remember the hit where he got lit up by, who was the guy on the New Jersey Devils that crushed?
Stefan Nason.
And he said, would I have liked for someone to step in? For sure. I was a little surprised by that. Mm-hmm. And then he goes on to say he loves, his teammates and blah, blah, blah. But
what was the most fascinating part of the Cam and Strick clip with Tage Thompson is when Tage Thompson unprompted defended Mitch Marner. I thought that was really interesting.
Did he?
No, he didn't.
Yeah, he didn't.
I was like,
that happens a lot on the Cam and Strick podcast.
Yes, it does.
The unneeded.
It's just something I know.
Oh, 100%.
It's just something I know.
There's a lot of Mitch Marner defense just falling out of the sky.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Uh-huh. And so, and listen.
It's just,
Hey. We'll get to that in a second. I do want to say on the Sabres, JJ Peterka was left off the German team announcement, not because he's not going to be on it, but because he doesn't have a contract. And Frege actually went into the weeds with this. If you don't have a contract, they don't want to pay your insurance because the insurance on a player unsigned is crazy.
Okay.
So he'll have a contract and he'll be on the German team, but they didn't want to name him and then be forced to pay how much it would pay to insure him if he didn't have a contract.
Fine.
No,
the Tage Thompson
really
thing.
Reasonable explanation.
Yes.
Yeah. You're not moving on from Tage, right?
Yeah, I am.
Oh, dude.
What more is there to say? They're a loser-ass team.
Yeah, but that's like an epic cry for help.
Yeah.
Like a complete... the one that you cannot ignore.
Well, and I think we'll find the solution in this next segment.
Oh.
Because I have an idea. Okay? The JJ Peterka sweepstakes, Buffalo was like, no, we won't. No, we won't. And now they're going, well, maybe we have to.
Complete failure.
You know what Buffalo could use is more scoring center help. Is there a deal to be worked out, because both teams are trying to get better?
Don't you dare.
With the Minnesota Wild for Steve's favorite player, Marco Rossi.
Adam's least favorite. Why Adam?
I think 5'9" Marco Rossi could have stepped in and saved Tage Thompson.
You know what? This makes sense because the Buffalo Sabres would then be trading for a player who, as Adam refers to him, is hot ass.
I didn't say he was hot
You
ass.
said he was complete bullshit.
I said he didn't play much in the playoffs, but it doesn't matter for Buffalo because
Neither
they
do
got to
they.
get there.
It's fine. Yeah, neither do they.
What are you proposing?
I'm proposing Peterka for Rossi and whatever pieces you want to throw in to make that even.
No.
It's an interesting thought. I am not trading, no matter what I am offered, JJ Peterka.
Yeah.
He's getting traded. I'm telling you, he's getting traded.
Then Kevin Adams is a complete failure.
Alex Tuck.
Yeah, but he's already that, Steve.
I know. Again. Okay, who's next? Who's the next young player? Because they have a great crop. Who's the next young player who wants out of Buffalo, who they pitch out the door?
I already know.
Because they suck shit.
I already know.
Who?
Rasmus Dahlin. Do you think that Paul Bissonnette rumor wasn't real?
Oh, it was real.
Yeah, we found out it was real, just in a different way. He had the conversation with Kevin Adams. He was unhappy, but he didn't request a trade or anything like that.
So Dahlin goes in last season and says, I can't do this anymore. Tage Thompson says, yeah, it'd be nice if somebody stepped up and helped.
No, he said it was a bit shocking.
It was a bit shocking. That's a big thing for an NHL player to say. Guys.
Yeah, no, I don't think we need to emphasize the point that the city of Buffalo is burning down and Terry Pegula needs to sell the team and Kevin Adams needs to go far away. They all just leave there and everything's fine and they just keep chucking along and losing.
Gavin McKenna is going first overall next year. I will burn next season to the ground before I trade that player for any price. But they're not reputable or interesting or relevant, so they're going to trade him.
I'm not saying this is Gavin McKenna's personality or representation at all.
You mean Peterka?
No. I'm talking about McKenna. Let me get to the point.
You said McKenna, Steve.
I said McKenna too.
Yeah.
I know.
So what I'm trying, because I was halfway through my sentence and then you
interrupted.
Yeah, so I
liked what I was saying.
I was wondering if you're McKenna next season and a team like the Sabres is the first overall pick, are you pulling the Mario Lemieux, Eric Lindros? And people forget Mario wouldn't get up and put a Penguins jersey on because they weren't going to agree to his terms. Eric Lindros said, I will not play for the Nords. I will not play for the Nordiques. This owner's a lunatic. I'm not doing this.
Yes.
The Sabres are in the exact same position as the Nordiques were at that time. They got an owner who fans are justifiably furious at, who is not running this team properly. You've seen what's happened with Connor Bedard in Chicago. Mm-hmm. Do you really want to step into that if you're Gavin McKenna?
Well, and the rumor with him is he's going to leave the WHL for college.
Yes, hearing that too.
I get drafted by the Sabres.
Yeah.
You know what I love? Learning.
Free agency. I love free agency.
I love learning.
Where can we move Buffalo to?
I don't think you move Buffalo.
Rochester.
You move the owner.
Yeah, but...
Remove.
Yeah, but I'd like Gary to step in. I want Big GB to get involved here.
Can an owner get fired for just being shit?
They should.
They should. Well, the Pirates owner should be fired for being shit. Total shit.
Yeah.
The guy hasn't... I don't think they've made a free agent signing in, 7 years or something like that? It's like a crazy stat. Their last big free agent signing was 2017 or something, and it was Francisco Liriano or something like that. Mm-hmm. And so that's my point.
The Pirates.
It's very clearly...
I was the Sabres?
No, the Pirates. The Pirates, yeah.
Got it.
No, I think you move Buffalo to what city do you hate, Steve? Just somewhere that you hate.
Mississauga.
No, okay.
Yeah,
all right.
So you move him to Mississauga because Steve hates Mississauga because that's where I'm from. Uh-huh. And then you let Mississauga deal with Terry Pegula.
Damn.
You give the fans of Buffalo a good team, a new team, a fresh start with a new owner.
And you have them play out of Paramount.
You could own the Buffalo.
150 fans show up.
The Buffalo Dangles.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they'll play. Yeah, Paramount Fine Food Center. Nobody will show up
in the middle of
the worst location any arena's ever been in.
Absolute shitware. Who built that thing?
The Buffalo Sabres need a fresh start with a new human being running their team. It's unfair to these fans that Terry Pegula is still running this thing with his man he groomed to be a general manager with no experience in Kevin Adams, who fired everyone the day he got in there and decided to get no help. And then who's the help they decide to bring in now, Adam?
Jarmo Kekalainen.
Your favorite human.
You know what's crazy?
It's just Mr. Burns and Smithers running around the power plant, running the thing by themselves.
The Blue Jackets had Bill Zito. We talked about how Kraken and Oilers could have had him. The Blue Jackets had him. And they're like, no, we prefer Jarmo.
I loved our episode names. We titled it Smithers because he came up with...
He's Smithers!
Kevin Adams is Smithers.
Terry,
so
you're quite
embarrassing.
good at turning me on. Like,
They're so embarrassing.
bro.
JJ Peterka is going to win a Stanley Cup with the Florida Panthers.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm going to tamper right now.
No.
I'm texting Alan. Don't you dare. Alan,
now-
don't you dare.
Okay, here's my question, guys. When it comes to free agency,
Walsh.
the report this morning is that Marchand's camp. So CJ's been saying it. It started out as potentially a 3-year deal at $8 million, right? Now CJ's talking about, well, they're thinking it could be 4 now. And Drake said this morning it could be as high as $8.5 million per season.
I thought you were about to say years.
I am ready.
And I was going to throw this table.
I am
across
ready
the room.
to overpay for that. I'm prepared to overpay for Brad Marchand. But at what point does that become a really bad idea? Like the Leafs, I want him to come to the Leafs.
Does he do the funny thing and sign with, I don't know, Buffalo? I'm sorry. Like, no, I know.
That's not the funny thing. That's the sad thing.
It's funny because he's just ripping them off.
You know what makes a lot of sense for Brad Marchand? San Jose and Anaheim. Young guys, teach them the culture. And I think Anaheim might be closer than San Jose is to the playoffs. But like, there's a reason why Anaheim is getting guys like Chris Kreider. They're trying to show people we're trying to win now.
Let me give you absolute doomsday scenario.
Okay.
Marchand and Marner end up in San Jose with Celebrini.
That would be a nightmare. That'd be a nightmare.
Oh,
I think Marchand in San Jose is something there. I think you nailed something.
give me the 63 Marchand teal jersey.
Yeah. Like imagine, okay, who's touching Celebrini if Marchand's on his line? Or Eklund? Or Smith?
See, Marchand there's always been a bigger bear
Yeah.
when it
They
comes.
can bring a bigger bear.
Yeah, Marchand's not really that guy.
But he's not gonna put up with somebody taking a run at Celebrini.
No,
Sure.
he's not.
Just like he never did with Pasternak.
I knew they were friggin' winning last night, just the way he was playing, but also it's second intermission. They're up. It was 2 or 3-0 heading into the third. And he's the one taking shots at Oilers players after the horn. I'm like, there's something wrong with you. That's something they should be doing to you to get the boys going. And he's just taking swipes at guys.
Mm-hmm.
Something wrong with that,
If
man.
the Leafs
They're not.
do a 4-year, $8 million a year deal with Brad Marchand,
I'll die miserable.
will you die miserable?
Yeah.
You won't like it for the first couple of years and go, screw it, who cares what happens after that? There are ways to get rid of contracts.
Did they win? That's the only answer.
I hate
It would be a lot. They would
that
be
it
a lot
starts
more
there.
likable. Like for me, the Leafs' first goal this offseason is to become likable again. Brad Marchand solves that problem.
Mitch Marner leaving is going to help.
I think I said this before. I'll say it again. Opening night in Toronto, there should be no less than 8 fights.
Well, I agree. And people are like, what are you talking about? I love the Leafs. Same with me. But my point is, usually when a fan base reaches a point where every time specific players are touching the puck in a playoff game and they're getting booed in their own arena, I think we've reached a point where a lot of people don't like these guys.
You can't more emphatically be like, fucking change it up.
So would Brad Marchand then be worth it? Have we talked ourselves into a 24? No, $32 million deal?
This has been the problem with me, like talking about the Leafs, is you're so right.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're nailing it. They do have a likability problem because, what should the Leafs do this offseason? For me, the word I begin that sentence with is always, I don't know, man.
Yeah, you do. You do.
Marchand?
I think that's a beginning conversation, but what I'm trying to say is you do actually know. It's the reason you're reacting that way is you're applying the last 5 seasons to this.
Yeah.
They have a real opportunity here to, like, if they come in and they show heart and soul, which is I think the issue that Toronto fans have had, then I think instantly likable. That's why you say 8 fights.
They got to do
hitting on
something.
something. To say that you don't know, I think is you're applying Brendan Shanahan logic to it. And Shanny's gone.
They got to do something for me, and I think a lot of Leaf fans watching this right now, to get our blood pumping. Get me excited. Get me through the summer. Get me through the summer and
some
then
hope.
Sell me on some hope, baby. And then when next season arrives, just beat the shit out of a few guys. Is that too much to ask?
Mm-hmm.
Beat the shit out of... Oh, you need a willing combatant. I just watched the Florida Panthers. No, you don't. Grab someone and punch them until someone stops you. And for anyone being like, oh, that's terrible, that's what winners do.
Sounds like you want Ryan Reeves in the opening day roster.
No.
I said this strategy.
I said grab someone and punch them until someone pulls you off. Reeves wouldn't catch anyone worth beating up.
I don't know. I want them to win in the playoffs.
I do too.
Yeah.
Starts in the regular season, though.
Not really. Not with these teams. Not with Florida. Florida sucks for a lot of this season.
If the Leafs put together a cup-winning roster, will we have any idea what it looks like?
No.
Like, dude, even if they were first place in the league next year, we'll be like, well, they're going to fuck it up in the round.
They're going to fuck it up.
100%.
Or they could go into the playoffs the way the Panthers did this year, and we'll be like, they're going to get fucking swept.
I think the Leafs need to show. Here's the deal. Here's what needs to happen. Let's just be straight about this. The Toronto Maple Leafs need to be planning for Connor McDavid's free agency. If you're not, then you should all be fired.
If it comes around.
We don't know, so you must plan anyway.
No, I mean, like, if he signs in August, they can't.
Then you can stop.
Then there's nothing to plan for.
But this free agency, you have to treat it like Connor's going to be a free agent next year. You have to. You have to have a plan for that.
Is this going to be a slow... I don't know what happened to my voice there. Is this going to be a slow July 1st?
No. Now, hold on. It's not.
Nothing came out.
Hang on. Let me finish the point.
My mouth moved and nothing came out.
A balloon losing air.
You have to, if you're the Leafs, plan to take a on-paper step back and teach this team how to play like a team. I think they played more like a team this season than I have seen them play in this era. I give them a ton of credit for how they worked against in the games that they won against the Panthers. They were truly impressive. Mm-hmm. And the games that they won against Ottawa, they were truly impressive. And they won the division. Their defense looks better. Their goaltending looks good. There are plenty of reasons to hope for this team.
Sure.
But what I need to see is more throughout the entire lineup, right? I need to see Matthews have a rebound. I need to see Matthew Nyes. Hey, you want to make $8 million, buddy? Now we're going to be on your shit.
Play like it. Yeah.
And do you think this will lead to them signing Connor McDavid?
I think that if you show that you're a Connor McDavid away, that's the convincing point. Because Connor McDavid is not just going to sign here because it's Toronto. Connor McDavid is going to sign where he thinks he can win. Mm-hmm. So if you show, hey, we're a second round team, but man, we went down fighting and we could have just used one more guy. And we think you're that guy. And he goes, hell yeah, I am. I am that friggin' guy. And I'm going to, and I am going to come home and we are going to, or he's going to say it to whoever else is at the table at that point. Anaheim, San Jose, bunch of, maybe Florida's in there, maybe Vegas is in there, whoever's in there, right? You got to make sure if you're the Toronto Maple Leafs management, you're not building for 26. You hope to get as far as you can. You're not going to spend big at the deadline. You're not building for the cup in 26. You're building for the cup in 27. This is a 2-year plan.
The Leafs have my full permission to try to win the cup in 2026.
They do, but this is not an all-in year.
What percentage chance are you putting on it that Connor McDavid is a Toronto Maple Leaf to start the 26-27 NHL season?
Less than 1%.
Steve.
Because likely he resigns.
15. That's something.
I think that's very reasonable.
You think it's reasonable?
Yeah.
I have fits of reason. Sometimes.
You must plan for it. You must.
Oh, definitely.
You have to act like it's going to happen. And I don't think the Leafs have anything. We keep saying, the Leafs have nothing to trade.
You're funny, man.
Why?
It's just, you're talking about Connor McDavid. And this morning I was looking at like David Kampf on the Puckpedia bio calculator. Like, you're thinking the way
you got to
should be thinking.
In the big way. Yes. You have to be thinking like that. You can't be paying. People have a point. Like, you can't be paying David Kampf $2.5 million to play sometimes fourth line. You can't be paying Max Domi to be what do you do in this lineup during the regular? He was good in the postseason. I think they got to find him a spot, and I think his spot is next to Austin Matthews next year.
Stop playing him in the middle.
I know, it's insane.
It's like fucking mad.
It's like Patrick Laine playing top line center. What are we doing here?
Lawton as a deadline pickup, not playing center. All right, fine. He's a center.
Yeah.
All right. You paid a first-round pick for this guy.
Yeah. People were worried about Reeves. Stop. I mean, you're going to bury him. It's going to be $200,000 against your cap. Who cares? Literally, who cares?
I honestly think a team could be convinced.
Sure. Maybe they trade him, but I don't think Ryan Reeves. Whenever people list him as an issue, I'm like, guys, be serious.
Yeah.
Calle Yarncroke. I am a fan of Calle Yarncroke. I know he's not great in the playoffs. If he's gone, fine. But you have got to focus on people that actually make the difference. Because every year, what do? We go, man, if we could have just surrounded the core four with this guy who Edmonton or Florida plucked out of obscurity.
What if everything went perfect?
Exactly. Now that we don't have to look at it like that, you need to look at, here's the big player that's going to make a big difference. And I think this is a 2-year thing. This is a 24-month plan. If I was Brad Treliving, I'd be going to Keith Pelly going, this is not the year we're going all in. We'll go as far as this team will take us, but we need to be planning for the best player of this generation to be a free agent, and we need to get him. We must get him, and we must do everything we can to get him.
Well, that
and
means,
by the way, our best player happens to share his agent.
That means all the dead wood on your roster, you have to put at the 50-yard line and kick it between the wickets.
We're going to bring Harrison on. I just want to quickly mention SDPN participating in the Get Real virtual 5K fundraiser. And we did some shooting yesterday.
I'm exhausted.
Are you? Are you sore?
I'm actually... No, it's just I got that pump going.
Okay.
Healthy quads going.
We got a video coming out about...
no spoilers.
We can't
No
say
spoilers.
There's videos? We have
no
a video
spoilers.
coming out, and Steve is skating in it. And so are the rest of us. That's hilarious on its own. But anyway, we just want you to click the links. The SDPN team link is below. We're trying to raise $4,000. Get Real 5K, hashtag Rainbow Railroad 5K. And remember, Rainbow Railroad evacuates queer individuals fleeing dangerous environments around the globe. And obviously, Get Real goes into schools and helps kids who are of the 2S LGBTQ plus community, and also kids who are not, in education.
And to learn more about that, we're bringing on
Harrison Browne.
You're good at this.
Let Us Play. It's a book. Winning the Battle for Gender Diverse Athletes. It's by a friend of ours named Harrison Browne. Welcome back to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Now, Harrison is also a longtime member of Rachel's Raiders. So, we thankfully, every time you suit up for us, you're the best player on the ice by far. We got our asses handed. No, yes.
Was it Lindros who saw Harrison play and was like, "Who's that?
Who the hell is that?
And they were like, "Oh my god, who's that out there?" Yeah.
I should have quoted that
out there for like a plus. So I was like, "Yeah, I'm a plus." And my two other forwards were you and Eric. Right. So felt pretty good.
Let's talk a little bit about this book and why. Write it. What's important about this story? Give us sort of the lowdown here.
Yeah. So what it originally started out as a memoir-based project, and obviously writing a book is pretty crazy of an endeavor. Yeah, it's pretty nuts.
We've been adjacent to it a couple times, and Steve's a little gets a little stressed.
I bet. Yeah.
How many times did you have to whine to your friends like, I can't?
Yes.
Right now, I got to do something.
Yeah. So I employed my sister to help me with that. So my sister is Rachel Browne, and she's an investigative journalist, award-winning, like Vice News, Maclean's, Global, everything. So teaming up with her made this like a digestible thing, but it also made us change it into a more global scope, because we were able to use her perspective of like unbiased things. And anyways, so we made it more of an all-encompassing conversation, because when I came out in 2016, and trans participation in sports wasn't as much of an issue, wasn't as much of a topic, and we saw
wasn't politicized.
Wasn't politicized, and we saw the discourse really change in a negative way. So we really wanted to kind of dispel these myths and explore the moral panic of trans athletes right now. So we talked with trans kids, families, athletes from Olympic level to recreation all over the world to just kind of break it down and what's really going on right now.
So okay, and I think that's the key, because there's a lot of, frankly, there's a lot of misinformation out there about it. And I think usually when it's so funny, you hear this from people who have really no involvement in sports, really no involvement in trans or actually 2S LGBTQ plus issues on the whole. It's just a lot of people who are going, I didn't grow up with that, so I'm not comfortable with that. And what we don't hear a lot of is from your side of it and the people that are living it. And so what would be the main, if there's a it's not fair, you've written an entire book, but if there's something here that's the main thrust that people can kind of grab onto, about this particular issue, because it's a big one, especially in the States. It's so highly politicized. It is red hot right now. What would be the thing you would say?
Well, I would say that trans participation in sports is not new. trans people have been participating in sports for decades. When I was playing college in 2011, there was a trans policy that was put in place, and it's not a new thing. It's only been this new sensational thing in the media because politicians are using it right now as a political tool to get votes and to be a savior in a moral panic. That's the biggest thing that I've been seeing. But trans participation in sports is not an issue. There has been no Olympic gold medals won by a trans woman or Olympic gold medals. In all of NCAA, there is 500,000 athletes. There are 10 trans participants. This is not an issue at all, and I think people really need to scrutinize what they're seeing in the media, especially when it's about underrepresented minorities.
I was taken by using the term "right now." You know, they're using it right now. Can you imagine a world where they move on to something else? Because like it does feel like whatever moment in time we're in. Whoever's on the wrong side of history has to pick a thing, and right now this is that thing. Yeah, that was the biggest thing that I really learned, because we had to do a lot of history. We had to do a lot of research of why this is happening. Why now? Exactly. Because it was gay rights before. Right. It was racialized topics before that. We're just finding new scapegoats everywhere we go. And trans people, in particular trans women and trans athletes, and sports is being weaponized right now in a way that I've never seen it. And it feels so personal to me. And that's what really inspired me to do something about it. Yeah.
Yeah. The numbers thing, that's what really stands out to me when you dig a little deeper into what you're just not seeing in the media, and you find out it's 10 athletes out of 500,000. And how do people go about combating that? Because that's when you look at the politicians talking about it, it feels like every other athlete is a trans athlete competing in the NCAA, and it's really just the smallest of percent. So how can the average person combat that misinformation? Because that's what it truly is.
Yeah, education is the biggest key, and scrutinizing what you read in the media, not taking everything at face value, especially when it's coming from something like Fox News. But we're also seeing things like the New York Times spreading misinformation. So we really need to stay vigilant right now. But I think really equipping with stats has been really great for me. Like just those numbers that I just read off, it makes people think, and they're like, oh, okay. Because it's like you see trans women are taking over women's sports. It's just this general blanket statement. But when you break it down by the numbers, it's just not the facts. Who is dominating women's sports? Cisgender women. There's not enough trans people in the world to even make that an issue.
I wonder with this, because, you have seen, I remember when we first talked, and when we were talking about, and this is years ago during Pride, we were talking about your transition and that sort of thing. And if I remember correctly, there's a bit of loneliness in your story where you felt very much like you didn't fit. There was some sort of thing. And then obviously now things are different. I wonder for you, how lonely does it make you feel when you see that stuff? How does that hit you day after day after day? Because we get hit with that sort of story every day. Every day you log on to Twitter, it's like whatever Elon Musk decides. It's, the plight of people in South Africa. It's Iran, Israel. It's transgender athletes, that sort of thing. It is literally on the front page of the internet.
It's a lot about how he's been wronged personally.
Yes, 100%, and how hard life has been for him. I'm wondering for you, how are you feeling day to day about this?
It's bleak. I gotta say, it's bleak. Like I've had to mute Apple News on my phone, so
really?
that it's not something that I wake up every morning and see this headline about my community. Like as it's hitting so close to home in a way that I've never experienced it. Like growing up LGBTQ+, like obviously there's always going to be backlash and there's always going to be people that say things, but it's just reaching this fever pitch that I haven't seen in a very long time. And I think what people aren't understanding or is that it's a really hard thing to talk about. As soon as somebody finds out that I'm trans, that I'm an athlete, all they want to do is debate me. And they want to
debate you.
Yeah, they want to debate me. They want to talk about this topic, and I'm forced to educate people. I'm forced to advocate. I'm always on the defense now in a way that I've never had to be before. But it's exhausting. And yeah.
Do you don't feel the responsibility to have to take that up every time, do you?
I do. I think I'm in a space like
God, that's got to be
trans
awful.
people. Like you can pick and choose what battles you want to have, and not everybody has to be an advocate. Yeah. But I think for me, my visibility and the influence that I was able to have as a trans athlete that was celebrated, that it was a positive story. I think I'm really responsible for this, and I find that sports. I'm preaching to the choir here. Sports saved my life. Mm-hmm. Like I don't know the identity of being a hockey player, the identity of being an athlete, the life lessons, the friendships, everything that I had as a child. The fact that some kids are not going to be able to have that because of how they identify, that scares me so much. And I really want everybody to be able to play sports because it's such a special thing.
Yeah, and we spoke to a representative from the Get Real movement, was it last week? And we were talking about just how important sports is to a community and people growing up, but it's not so much as like the playing sports part of it. It's the camaraderie and the team bonding that goes on around sports. And for a lot of people, like sports is where they find their community and their people and their friends. Mm-hmm. And for people, like you need that to be a safe space. You need that to be friendly for everybody to be invited into. So the work you're doing to create that space in sports is really important.
Yeah, and I think the discourse right now, like trans participation in sports, it's all about fairness and winning and medals. Mm-hmm. And it's like we need to get back to the ethos of sports when we can not look at it through the medals, but we think about it through the enrichment, through the health, through the things that you can really gain as a child. Like I think we need to get back to what that is really about.
Yeah, there's a lot of TikTok stuff about third places. You know, you go to work, you go home, and a lot of people these days, because it is a lonely world when everybody's on their phone, they don't have third places to go. And I think sports is one of the best third places for people's lives. Mm-hmm. And it just needs to be a comfy third place for everybody.
Yeah, for sure. I thought you were about to talk about bronze medals.
No, I thought he was too.
Yeah, I kind of,
No, literally third place. As in,
So what were some things while writing this book that brought you joy?
Oh, yeah. Joy. That's right. The important
like, you know, like I just feel like, listen, so everything's hard, right? Like, no, what were some things throughout the process of writing this thing that brought you joy?
Well, I wrote it with my sister, and I think that is such a special thing to write something and to have a project like this with a family member. I learned a lot about her and a lot about her work through this because she's able to come to my hockey games. She's able to see tangible things. This was the first time that I was able to see her in when we were interviewing people and doing what she does for a living. And I was like astounded by, she's so smart.
She's pretty good at it, eh?
She's so good at it. It's crazy. But learning that and being able to feel empowered by her and see what she was learning through this. Because like as a trans person, I learned a lot. But as a cisgender ally, just seeing how humble that she was with it and how much she learned and how fierce of an advocate she is for this community, it was just really special to do that. But also talking with trans kids. We talked to a trans kid out of Boston and his dad coaches his hockey team. He plays on a co-ed team. And just to hear how much he loves sports and how much his dad wants to protect him and champion him as a trans kid. It just, when I finished that interview, I started crying, and I sent him one of my jerseys and he has it beside Marchand jersey and Matthews jersey in his bedroom.
Very cool.
And he sent me one of his afterwards. And so just hearing from these resilient kids just makes me so like just fills me up. Yeah.
So listen, the book is Let Us Play, Winning the Battle for Gender Diverse Athletes. It's by Harrison and Rachel Browne.
Yes.
And it's in stores now, and congratulations on the book. We know that this is not just a labor of love for you, but also a labor of education for the rest of us, and we very much appreciate it.
Great. No, thanks for having me, guys.
The Steve Dangle Podcast. Follow the guys on Twitter at Steve_Dangle, at Adam WYLDE, and at Jesse Blake. Connection complete.